Chapter 3493. Chapter 3493. The Crown Prince is marrying someone else. 3. Chapter 3493. The Crown Prince is marrying someone else. 3. Wasn't it Jun Linyuan who had forced her to protect Feng Wu? At that thought, the white fairy glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu stuck out her tongue at her playfully. The white fairy gave Feng Wu a strange look. Aren't you worried? Feng Wu looked at her in confusion. Why should I be? The white fairy said, a dozen spiritual overlords want to kill you. Aren't you afraid? Feng Wu only smiled. The white fairy said, that's right. The Crown Prince is here to protect you. What are you afraid of? Feng Wu still didn't say anything. However, the white fairy smirked. But why did I hear that the Crown Prince was marrying someone else? Feng Wu was still busy with her work and didn't even look at the white fairy. The white fairy frowned. Aren't you going to respond at all? Her man would be snatched away. What was she waiting for? She should be going after that man. However, Feng Wu didn't even have much reaction. The white fairy asked, what are you thinking? Do you really not like him? Feng Wu kept quiet. The white fairy said, if you behave this way, someone might really steal the Crown Prince. You have to believe me. Back then, Chu Yunfei and I, Feng Wu said, you were courting him back then, but he wasn't into you. The white fairy was infuriated. She glared at Feng Wu. Do you have a death wish? Only then did Feng Wu realize what she had said. She waved her hand. I'm sorry. She was in a bad mood. Who said that? Feng Wu didn't care at all. She was just pretending not to care. However, she was also annoyed by how much she cared, so she had been suppressing her anger. But the white fairy made her show it. The white fairy smirked. You can't afford to get annoyed right now. Let's save your life first. With that, she turned around and left angrily. Duan Chaoga gave Feng Wu a strange look. She could see a black shadow and hear the other party's voice, but she couldn't see who was talking. How strange. Watching the white fairy leave, Feng Wu patted herself on the head. She couldn't be anxious. There must be a way. Feng Wu was multitasking. As she set up the formation, she thought of a plan. Putting Jun Linyuan aside, the most important thing now was to save her own life. There were only over a dozen assassins at the moment, but what about in a few days? What about the other countries? Feng Wu racked her brain. Soon, she had a preliminary plan, but it was missing a trigger. Which family should she pick? Meanwhile, the other families in the Imperial capital started moving as well. Even if their old manors weren't in the Imperial capital, the 9 major families still had a lot of properties there, and most of the major members were there as well. That was the case with the Zhou family. The Zhou family didn't know about what happened to Zhou Qingwan yet, but they knew that Feng Wu was wanted by the entire continent. Haha, Master Zhou laughed until he was in tears. That was great. That was the best news. Feng Wu was wanted by the entire continent, and one would get a generous reward when one had her head. The reward would be weapons and martial techniques needed by a peak, spiritual overlord, and the position of a sacred elder of the Firmament Palace. How attractive! Take the position of the sacred elder of the Firmament Palace as an example. Chapter 3494. Chapter 3494. The Crown Prince is marrying someone else. 4. Chapter 3494. The Crown Prince is marrying someone else. 4. It was only an honorary position, and one didn't need to stay in the Firmament Palace. However, one could get paid every year. In layman's terms, it was a dividend. That alone was enough to tempt anyone, not to mention the other 2 rewards. Zhou Ming said excitedly, with that reward, I'll be able to rise to the spiritual overlord stage. The Zhou family must get it. Mrs. Zhou was equally excited. Clenching her fists, she said, Feng Wu has done so many evil things, and she's finally going to get what she deserves. After all the people she has offended, she has finally offended the Firmament Palace, and one doesn't mess with the Firmament Palace. An idea struck Mrs. Zhou all of a sudden. Firmament Palace. Firmament Palace. My dear husband, do you think Qingwan is behind all this? Otherwise, why is Feng Wu on the wanted list? Zhou Ming said, of course. Qingwan is too smart for Feng Wu to handle. Mrs. Zhou couldn't hide her excitement. But something else then occurred to her. My lord, why do I hear that Her Majesty wants to make the daughter of the Hua family the crown prince's wife? Isn't that position reserved for Qingwan? Mrs. Zhou frowned. How could Her Majesty do that? Zhou Ming only smiled. I've talked to my father about it. According to him, it may not be a bad thing. Mrs. Zhou asked, did father say that? Zhou Ming said, yes. Mrs. Zhou was relieved, but she still didn't like it. So she frowned and asked, why? Why isn't it a bad thing? It's the worst thing. Zhou Ming shook his head. My lady, you're so silly. Have you forgotten that? Feng Wu is His Royal Highness's favorite? Mrs. Zhou wouldn't have it. His Royal Highness is only interested in her beauty. Zhou Ming nodded. Even if that's the case, he still likes her. Mrs. Zhou didn't want to talk to him anymore. Zhou Ming went on. If you watch carefully, you'll see how calm His Royal Highness is when he looks at Qingwan. There's no emotion in his eyes, but the way he looks at Feng Wu, I don't know what to say. Mrs. Zhou said angrily, I don't like the sound of that. Zhou Ming said, do you think I want to tell you that? If you hadn't been dreaming all the time, I wouldn't have tried to wake you up either. To be honest, as a man, I'm almost certain that His Royal Highness doesn't have any feelings for Qingwan. Mrs. Zhou punched Zhou Ming in frustration. Zhou Ming smirked. Even if we're divorced today, I still have to say it. But don't worry. Our daughter will marry the crown prince one day. Seeing that Mrs. Zhou was staring at him in bewilderment, Zhou Ming smiled. But it seems that the one Yue family has to go first. Let the Hua family and the crown prince fight it out now. Hua Wushuang and Feng Wu will fight it out, and Her Majesty and His Majesty will be angry. Zhou Ming went on smirking. In the end, they'll realize that Qingwan, who's such a peaceful girl, is the only one good enough to be the crown prince's wife. Zhou Ming's words were so powerful that Mrs. Zhou almost believed him. Just then, she suddenly asked, what do you think Feng Wu did to make the Firmament Palace put such a high price on her head? Zhou Ming said, how am I supposed to know? Mrs. Zhou said, I don't care. I'm going to tell everyone. Some clans don't have spiritual overlords, and they don't know it yet. I need to visit them. Chapter 3495. Chapter 3495. Is Feng Wu going to die? 1. Chapter 3495. Is Feng Wu going to die? 1. Zhou Ming wasn't a spiritual overlord yet, but the Zhou family had more than one spiritual overlord, so they had heard about it a long time ago. After Mrs. Zhou left, Zhou Ming sipped his tea and smirked. Feng Wu. Huh. When he talked to the older generation about it earlier, they gave him permission to gather a group of capable cultivators from the old manor in Xinjiang province. They were all peak spiritual kings and spiritual overlords. The first group of 5 had arrived, and the second group was still on their way. Feng Wu, you'll never survive this. Zhou Ming was sure of it. With so many capable cultivators attacking Feng Wu at the same time, of course, Feng Wu had to die. If he put himself in Feng Wu's shoes, he would be doomed no matter what. Mrs. Zhou thought the same as Master Zhou. Mrs. Zhou hated Feng Wu even more. Many of the Zhou family's third generation had died at Feng Wu's hands. Among her children, Zhou Qingyu was killed by Feng Wu, as was Zhou Qingxian and Zhou Qinglu. She had 5 children, and Feng Wu had killed 3 of them. Zhou Qingwan and Zhou Qingxi were the only ones left. Zhou Qingxi hadn't been raised by Mrs. Zhou and had been taken away as soon as he was born. Even Mrs. Zhou didn't know where he was now. Zhou Qingwan was their only hope now. At that thought, Mrs. Zhou hated Feng Wu to the bone and gritted her teeth. Mrs. Zhou had always been on friendly terms with Mrs. Dugu, so she visited the latter first. We've also heard that Feng Wu is wanted by the Firmament Palace. Mrs. Dugu wasn't the only member of the family. Empress Dugu was from that family, so Mrs. Dugu was second only to Empress Dugu in her status as the First Lady of the Empire. Hence, many noble ladies flocked to her. For instance, Duke Li's wife and Lord Ye's wife were both here. Neither of them had spiritual overlords in their families, so they didn't know the news. Hearing that, an idea struck Duke Li's wife. Her family was related to the Feng clan by marriage, and her second son was going to marry the eldest daughter of the Feng clan. Therefore, she blanched a little when she heard the news, fearing that her family would be implicated. The tea party was led mainly by Mrs. Zhua and Mrs. Dugu, who chatted the entire time. Of course, Mrs. Zhua wouldn't miss such a great opportunity to slander Feng Wu. She said happily, "The old saying is right. Good and evil will always be rewarded. It's only a matter of time before they come. That brat of the Feng family used to do all sorts of evil things. Now, she's finally going to get what she deserves, and it's going to be a great retribution." Naturally, everyone here belonged to the same side, so the other ladies didn't like Feng Wu at all. "Is Feng Wu going to die?" asked Lady Li. Mrs. Zhua asked, "Do you have spiritual overlords?" Lady Li shook her head. Mrs. Zhua said, "Those who want to kill Feng Wu are at least spiritual overlords, and she's wanted by the entire continent. That is to say, the Junwu Empire isn't the only place where she'll be hunted. Do you think Feng Wu will survive?" Lady Li shook her head. Mrs. Zhua said, "So Feng Wu has to die. I just feel sorry for her family." Lady Yi said, "Lady Xuanji is very pretty. What a pity." Mrs. Zhua pursed her lips. "So what if she's pretty? She's just a retard." Chapter 3496. Chapter 3496. Is Feng Wu going to die, too? Chapter 3496. Is Feng Wu going to die, too? All the ladies covered their mouths and laughed. The word retard meant their envy of Lady Xuanji's looks turned into mockery. It was as if that was the only way they could feel better. By the way, I heard that Feng Wu's brother is also very talented. With the help of Grand Secretary Feng, he has been making rapid progress. I think it won't be long before he rises again and becomes the pillar of the empire. Lady Yi gave Mrs. Zhua a meaningful look. Mrs. Zhua didn't say anything, but she smirked. Lady Yi knew that the Zhua family had something planned. That made sense. Since the Zhua family and Feng Wu were arch-enemies, of course, they would add insult to injury. An idea struck Lady Yi, and she asked, "If these people want to kill Feng Wu, will the Feng clan be affected?" Mrs. Zhua smirked. "Anyway, I heard that the Feng clan isn't going to get away this time." That was to say, Lady Yi glanced at Lady Li and saw that the latter was pricking up her ears. She then asked, "Will their extended family be affected?" Lady Li nodded and looked solemnly at Mrs. Zhua. Mrs. Zhua smirked. "It'll be so chaotic. Who knows if someone will try to take advantage of the situation. Feng Wu only has one head, and all the capable cultivators are already here. They won't leave empty-handed. Why should they? I don't know if they'll be willing to come here for nothing." Lady Li immediately paled. Lady Yi said, "Actually, I've been wondering, what did Feng Wu do to make the Firmament Palace so angry? Moreover, I don't think Master Yun of the Firmament Palace can give such a reward." Mrs. Zhua glanced at Lady Yi and said in a mysterious tone, "Feng Wu offended. Master Yun's boss." Lady Yi was confused. "Her boss? Who's that?" Mrs. Zhua said, "She's not from our era. That's all I can tell you." Lady Yi was anything but ordinary, and her stomach lurched when she heard that. "Don't tell me. Oh God, someone from that era is still alive? How dare Feng Wu offend someone like that? If that person really goes berserk, the Junwu Empire will be wiped out." Mrs. Zhua gloated. "You don't say. I think Feng Wu has really lost her mind. I still have some errands to run at home. I'll be on my way." Lady Li couldn't sit still anymore and ran back home right away. As soon as Lady Li left, Mrs. Dugu threw a dirty look at Mrs. Zhua. "You're scaring her on purpose. Her clueless daughter-in-law is going to have a hard time." Having achieved her goal, Mrs. Zhua was elated. "I'm not scaring her. I'm only telling her the truth. As for how she reacts, it's her business. I missed the part where that's my problem. Anyway, Qing Wan is the most popular member of the Firmament Palace now. As for Feng Wu, the Zhua family will just have to wait and see." After that, Mrs. Zhu went back home, looking very pleased. Mrs. Dugu and Lady Yi looked at each other, and both had twinkling eyes. If what Mrs. Zhu said was true, the Zhu family would rise even higher. Isn't the Empress Dowager fond of that girl from the Hua family? Isn't Mrs. Zhu worried that Zhuo Qingwan won't be able to marry His Royal Highness? Lady Yi asked curiously. Chapter 3497. Chapter 3497. Is Feng Wu going to die? 3. Chapter 3497. Is Feng Wu going to die? 3. Mrs. Dugu smirked. That's great. She can always marry the second prince. Lady Yi vented her sarcasm inwardly. The crown prince and the second prince were worlds apart. How could they be the same? They couldn't be more different. After Mrs. Zhu sent the news to Mrs. Dugu, Lady Yi, and Lady Li, she was sure that they would spread the news among their friends. Feng Wu, you're not only going to die, but your reputation will be ruined as well. Mrs. Zhu went back home in a great mood. Before she entered the house, she felt something was off. What was wrong? Mrs. Zhu went into the backyard and saw that most of it had been destroyed. Zhu Ming was drinking from a wine cask and was very drunk. Let me go. I'll kill everyone in the Feng clan. Zhu Ming rushed out with a saber over his shoulder, but his servants stopped him. What happened? Mrs. Zhu frowned. Seeing that Mrs. Zhu was here, stewards was said, Master was furious when he heard the news. The letter is on the table. Leave us. After sending them out, Mrs. Zhu picked up the letter. It was from the Firmament Palace. Mrs. Zhu was perplexed. A letter from the Firmament Palace, and it was delivered in such a solemn manner. What was going on? Mrs. Zhu opened the letter and read it. One look, and her knees buckled, and she almost fell to the ground. It was from Master Yin herself. The letter was about how Feng Wu had destroyed Zhuo Qingwan's true phoenix blood, and no one knew if Zhuo Qingwan was still alive. The Firmament Palace was still trying to save her, which was why the matriarch of the Firmament Palace was so angry that she put a price on Feng Wu's head. Mrs. Zhu's lips trembled. The true phoenix blood. Qingwan's true phoenix. Blood. She almost fainted. Zhu Ming rushed over and steadied Mrs. Zhu. Mrs. Zhu said, Qingwan has always been a blessed girl, and she's very proud of her true phoenix blood. What should she do now? Will she become a cripple? My lord, is this karma? My family destroyed Feng Wu's true phoenix blood back then, and Feng Wu is taking her revenge now. That's right. Master Yin said that Feng Wu destroyed Qingwan because she had the crown prince and northern Feng general behind her. The Zhu family won't let that happen. We must make her pay. Zhu Ming nodded. Naturally, we won't let her off the hook just like that. Come, let's go to the Feng clan and kill Feng Wu. After that, Zhu Ming took Mrs. Zhu's hand and led her away. Mrs. Zhu, who had been lying on the ground, suddenly calmed down. Wait a minute. Mrs. Zhu looked at Zhu Ming. Master Yin said that Feng Wu is supported by the crown prince and northern Feng general. If we kill her now, we'll offend those two people. Zhu Ming frowned. My lady, what are you waiting for? The more impulsive Zhu Ming was, the calmer Mrs. Zhu became. No, we have to be careful with those things. Just think about it. Even God is on our side now. Have you forgotten? Feng Wu is being hunted down by so many people, and it's not surprising that she's going dead. Why should we make these two formidable enemies publicly? We don't need to do it openly. All we need to do is to get someone to dress up as a man in black. That way, we'll be able to get a reward for killing Feng Wu. That'll be great. Chapter 3498. Chapter 3498. Is Feng Wu going to die? 4. Chapter 3498. Is Feng Wu going to die? 4. Isn't that what the Zhu family is going to do all along? Mrs. Zhu looked at Zhu Ming. Zhu Ming said, I'll go talk to my father then. Zhu Ming went to see Zhuo Chengfeng. Ever since the battle with Jun Linyuan the other day, when Zhuo Chengfeng was severely injured, he had been recuperating and hardly ever showed his face. No one knew what he would do this time. Meanwhile, in the Feng clan, Feng Sun came back from the Imperial Palace. He left in a hurry and came back much more relaxed. Xiao Wu, I'm back. Feng Sun quickly ran to Feng Wu's side. It was getting late, and Feng Wu was still busy setting up the formation. A level 9 formation master was incredible. More than half of the formation had been set up, and she might be able to finish it after staying up late tonight. Feng Wu was intrigued when she saw Feng Sun. Why isn't Xian Yi with you today? Weren't Feng Sun and Xian Yi always together? Feng Sun said he went into seclusion and said that he had to become a spiritual overlord. That way, he would be able to protect you. Feng Wu asked, what about you? Feng Sun scratched his head. I don't feel like making a breakthrough yet, so I'll run errands for you. Plus, I brought you the rest of the spiritual overlords of my family. All the capable cultivators of Northern Feng Mansion that could be sent to Nest have been sent there by General Feng. The 2 remaining ones guarding the Northern Feng Mansion were brought here to protect Feng Wu. Feng Wu glanced at Feng Sun. Although she didn't say anything to thank him, she would never forget what he had done for her. By the way, I almost forgot about why I'm here, Feng Sun said to Feng Wu in excitement. About all the ingredients you need. Master Chu has picked them himself. To make sure that nothing went wrong, Feng Wu opened the sacks Feng Sun had carried over and examined each item. They're all good stuff. We're counting on them. Feng Sun said, by the way, I ran into His Majesty on my way there. Feng Wu asked His Majesty? What did he say? Feng Wu put away all the ingredients and asked casually as she went on setting up the formation. One could only see other people's characters and attitudes when one was in danger. Now that she was at her lowest point and was being chased by all the capable cultivators in the world, she finally saw who was genuinely kind to her and who was hypocritical. From the looks of it, Feng Wu realized that she had made a good choice. She had chosen the right people to trust. Feng Sun said, His Majesty said that he had an agreement with the matriarch of the Firmament Palace, and it wasn't appropriate for him to help you openly. However, he has dismissed 10 capable men from the Imperial Palace, and they're no longer his guards. They can work for you now. By the way, Feng Sun lowered his voice. They're all spiritual overlords. Feng Wu said, I see. Feng Sun asked, Aren't you happy? Feng Wu said, I'm happy. His Majesty treats me very well. Feng Sun said, You don't look very happy. Feng Wu ignored him and asked, Didn't His Majesty tell you anything else? Feng Sun scratched his head. No. Feng Wu said, If that's the case, I need to go to court now. What's wrong with His Majesty? Why doesn't he have any faith in me? It'll be such a waste if I don't take this great opportunity. Feng Sun stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. What are you talking about? Chapter 3499. Chapter 3499. Encounter 1. Chapter 3499. Encounter 1. Had he heard it correctly? Not only wasn't Feng Wu intimidated by what had happened, but she was also trying to set someone up. Feng Wu dusted off her hands and turned to Feng Sun. Come, let's go to court. Feng Sun was at a loss and looked at Feng Wu in bewilderment. What was the girl doing? Since he couldn't figure it out, Feng Sun had to go with Feng Wu. What he didn't expect was that instead of going to see His Majesty, Feng Wu went to the vault of the Imperial Palace. With Emperor Wu's token, Feng Wu could go anywhere in the Imperial Palace. There were a lot of good stuff in the Imperial Palace, but after walking around, Feng Wu frowned. That shouldn't be the case. Feng Sun had been astonished the whole time. Not only did you just walk in, you even rested your hands on your waist and looked so disgusted. Feng Wu, you're incredible. Feng Sun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Feng Wu frowned. It shouldn't be the case. Feng Sun asked curiously, What are you looking for? Feng Wu said, It's an ancient pill recipe that can control one's mind, but it's not in the Imperial Palace. Where can it be found? Feng Sun asked, Are there such elixirs? Feng Wu glanced at Feng Sun, but didn't say anything. Feng Sun asked, What's wrong? Why did he feel like he was being looked down upon by his sister? Feng Wu said, I think I should go to His Majesty. Master Gao was surprised to see Feng Wu. What happened to Feng Wu hadn't spread among the common folk yet, but some people in the Imperial Palace didn't like her, so with their connivance, the news got around. "Miss Wu, what are you doing here?" Master Gao had always been very nice to Feng Wu. Hence, he went to greet Feng Wu outside the study. "I want to see His Majesty," said Feng Wu earnestly. Seeing the serious look on Feng Wu's face, Master Gao sighed inwardly and gave Feng Wu a sympathetic look. She was such a nice girl. How could anyone? There were things that Master Gao didn't want to say, but he took the initiative to tell her. "His Majesty is busy in the study. I'll go report to His Majesty after he's done. How about that?" Before Feng Wu could say anything, she heard the sound of someone smashing a cup, as well as an angry voice. Wasn't that the Empress Dowager? As expected, before Feng Wu could dodge, the Empress Dowager came out with a large group of people. Granny Gui spotted Feng Wu right away. The Empress Dowager, who had been walking angrily, didn't see Feng Wu, but Granny Gui reminded her on purpose, so she looked up and saw that Feng Wu was standing at the front gate with Master Gao. Seeing that the Empress Dowager was still angry, Master Gao felt a headache coming. Oh no! He had tried to take Feng Wu to a side hall so that she could avoid the Empress Dowager, but the Empress Dowager ran into her right away. Master Gao had been by Emperor Wu's side the whole time, and he knew perfectly well that the Empress Dowager didn't like Feng Wu. Recently, her dislike had turned into hatred. As expected, the Empress Dowager's eyes glinted coldly when she saw Feng Wu. "It's you." The Empress Dowager stopped in front of Feng Wu. Feng Wu rolled her eyes. What kind of luck was this? Why did she run into the Empress Dowager here? Chapter 3500 Chapter 3500 Encounter 2 Chapter 3500 Encounter 2 However, Feng Wu wouldn't back down when it came to the Empress Dowager. She had tolerated the old lady before, but now that the Empress Dowager had made her attitude so clear, why should Feng Wu try to play nice? Hence, Feng Wu gave the Empress Dowager an indifferent look and didn't say anything. That attitude made the already angry Empress Dowager even angrier. Fine. You have no respect for me anymore, do you? You haven't even married into the family, and you're already like this. What will happen if you do? The Empress Dowager snorted. She raised her voice in anger, so there was no way Emperor Wu couldn't hear her. Emperor Wu felt a headache coming on. Why had his mother become so unreasonable? She had just asked him to cancel the engagement between the Crown Prince and Feng Wu and give Hua Wuxuan to the Crown Prince instead. Emperor Wu was so angry that his head hurt. Did she know how outstanding Feng Wu was? Did she? Hearing the Empress Dowager's words, Emperor Wu hurried out, fearing that the Empress Dowager would drive Feng Wu away. Before Emperor Wu could get close, the Empress Dowager snapped at Feng Wu, "Kneel." Feng Wu looked up, her eyes cold and emotionless. The Empress Dowager had gone too far. The Empress Dowager glared at Feng Wu. "I told you to kneel. Didn't you hear me?" Feng Wu suddenly smiled. "Your Majesty, are you making me kneel? Are you asking a semi-divine medicine refiner to kneel before you now?" The Empress Dowager's expression froze at Feng Wu's words. Feng Wu wasn't that outstanding in the Junwu Empire in terms of her cultivation level. After all, there were many people above her who were better than her. However, in terms of medical skills, she was almost one of a kind. A semi-divine medicine refiner was an honored guest in any country on the continent, but the Empress Dowager ignored that question on purpose. A semi-divine medicine refiner? When did Miss Feng Wu reach that stage? Do you have any evidence? Seeing that the Empress Dowager was embarrassed, Granny Gui interrupted Feng Wu. Feng Wu smiled. The Empress Dowager knows best whether I'm a semi-divine medicine refiner or not. I saved Bao Air, didn't I, Your Majesty? A supreme-level medicine refiner couldn't save Bao Air, but Feng Wu had saved her, which proved that she was probably a semi-divine medicine refiner. Even if she wasn't, she would be one in the near future. At that thought, the Empress Dowager was probably the only one who knew how conflicted she felt. Rubbing her head, Feng Wu smiled at the Empress Dowager. If I remember correctly, I made a bet with you before I saved Bao Air at the Crown Prince's residence, didn't I? The bet was. The Empress Dowager flushed. She glared at Feng Wu, her eyes spitting fire. Damn her. The Empress Dowager had forgotten about the bet on purpose, and she thought that, as the Empress Dowager, she could do whatever she wanted. If she didn't remember the bet, no one would dare to remind her. However, she didn't expect to meet such a tough opponent this time. Feng Wu hadn't been like this before, but now she wouldn't give in. The more the Empress Dowager thought about it, the angrier she got. However, when she looked up, she saw Feng Wu's half-smile. Feng Wu said, I remember the bet back then was that if I saved Bao Air, your Majesty would. Chapter 3501. Chapter 3501. Going to Hua Family. Chapter 3501. Going to the Hua Family. The Empress Dowager was furious. Everything Feng Wu said was like a needle poking at her. She wasn't behaving like a proper girl at all. However, the Empress Dowager felt guilty for fear that Feng Wu would spill the beans. After all, the Empress Dowager still cared about her reputation. Hence, she glared at Emperor Wu. You spoiled her. Teach her some discipline. Having said that, the Empress Dowager left in a hurry. She walked so fast that no one could tell how old she was. As soon as Emperor Wu approached, the Empress Dowager scolded him before he could ask anything. He looked at Feng Wu in confusion. Strangely enough, he had thought that the Empress Dowager would pick on Feng Wu this time, but she had left so soon. After all, she was the Empress Dowager. Maybe she had become soft-hearted. That was what Emperor Wu thought, and that was what he said to Feng Wu. After saying that, he tried to persuade her. Actually, the Empress Dowager is a gentle person who either loves and hates a person. She has misunderstood you, which is why she's picking on you. You can coax her later and resolve the misunderstanding. Then everything will be fine. Feng Wu gave Emperor Wu a strange look. Master Gao didn't know what to say. With a wry smile, he told Emperor Wu about the conversation between Feng Wu and the Empress Dowager. Only then did Emperor Wu realize why his mother was in such a hurry and ran away without looking back. Emperor Wu shook his head and didn't say anything. Let's talk inside. Feng Wu followed Emperor Wu into the study. No one knew what they talked about in the study. All Master Gao knew was that Emperor Wu was lost in thought after Feng Wu left. Emperor Wu was deep in thought when he suddenly looked up and asked Master Gao, Do you think Feng Wu can really turn the situation around? Master Gao said, What? Emperor Wu said, Can she really turn a bad thing into a good thing with so many people after her? Master Gao asked, Is that possible? Emperor Wu said, That's right. Is that possible? No matter how Emperor Wu thought about it, he couldn't figure out how Feng Wu could turn the situation around. What about the Crown Prince? Emperor Wu asked. Is he the key? Master Gao looked confused. His Royal Highness hasn't come back since he left the mansion a few days ago. No one knows where he is. Emperor Wu rubbed his chin. That's strange. I asked Feng Wu just now, and she said that what she was going to do had nothing to do with the Crown Prince. She even asked me if I wanted to work with her. Master Gao said, Then your Majesty, did you? Emperor Wu said, Of course I said yes. She's my daughter-in-law. Master Gao thought to himself, I wish you could have been so tough in front of Her Majesty just now. Feng Wu left the palace and went back to the Feng family with Feng Sun. Feng Sun was confused the whole way. From time to time, he would glance at Feng Wu. What had she told His Majesty? What was her plan? You? Feng Sun couldn't help but ask curiously, What's your plan? Feng Wu said, Don't worry. You'll get busy. Feng Sun said, What? But he still couldn't understand. What did she mean? Was it because he was too dumb? Just then, Feng Wu said to herself, His Majesty said that the ancient recipe is with the Hua family. They must have brought it out of the Flower Valley this time, right? Feng Sun was shocked. You're going to the Hua family? Chapter 3502. Chapter 3502. The Divorce Letter. Chapter 3502. The Divorce Letter. Feng Wu nodded. That's right. I guess I have to go to the Hua family. No way. Feng Sun disagreed. Do you know what kind of relationship you have with the Hua family? You're their daughter's rival in love. Do you think you can walk out of there alive? Feng Wu said, so it's best if Hua Wushuang comes out on her own. Suddenly, Feng Wu turned around and gave Feng Sun a strange look. Feng Sun's heart sank. He felt like he had become her target. What do you want? Feng Wu smiled a little. Why don't you lure Hua Wushuang out? It won't be too much trouble. Just lure her out of the Hua family. Feng Sun said proudly, I'm not going. Feng Wu was about to coax Feng Sun when she looked up and saw that they were almost at the entrance of her house. However, there was a commotion outside. There seems to be a problem. The two of them quickly rode forward on their mounts. The crowd parted to make way for them. Feng Wu saw a carriage up ahead, in which a woman was sobbing, a child was crying, and a mean servant was reprimanding someone. Feng Wu saw Feng Sang and Feng Yiran standing at the door, looking furious. Feng Wu sat on her mount and watched from above. There was also a mount on the other side. Riding on the tall horse was a handsome but malicious-looking man. His eyes were ruthless and cold. Ignoring Feng Wu, he stared at the mother and daughter in the carriage and said in an extremely cold voice. A piece of paper flew out of his hand and landed on the woman. This is your divorce letter. In the future, we'll have nothing to do with each other. The girl is yours, and Hao Hao belongs to the Duke's estate. He has nothing to do with your family. With that, the man was about to leave. Was he divorcing his wife? Feng Wu recognized the woman in the carriage as Feng Yi, the eldest daughter of the Feng family. The girl in her arms was probably her daughter, Nianyo, but Feng Wu had never seen her before. Li Chaopan. Why? Why? Feng Yi was dumbfounded. She didn't have a good life at her in-laws' house, but she could still live on. However, for some reason, this afternoon, her mother-in-law suddenly told her that she had been divorced. Her husband actually wrote a divorce letter and threw it at her face. Feng Yi was the weakest among the sisters. When she was divorced, she would only cry and ask why. She cried, and so did Nianyo. For a moment, everything was in chaos. Feng Yi rushed forward and wanted to hug Li Chaopan's thigh, but Li Chaopan was extremely ruthless. He swung the horsewhip in his hand and hit the back of Feng Yi's hand. A bloody whip mark immediately appeared on the back of her hand. The 2-meter-tall horse raised its front hooves high and was about to step on Feng Yi. Sister, Feng Sang rushed forward and pulled Feng Yi back. Otherwise, Feng Yi would really have been trampled to death. Feng Sang was still in shock. Sister, what are you doing? Feng Yi was so shocked that she stood there in a daze. Li Chaopan was about to leave with his group of evil servants. Before he could leave, Feng Yiran bellowed, Li Chaopan, stop right there. Li Chaopan did stop. He turned around and gave Feng Yiran a provocative look. What's up? Feng Yiran, with your little strength, what can you possibly do? Chapter 3503. Chapter 3503. Unforeseen Event 1. Chapter 3503. Unforeseen Event 1. Feng Yiran, you're so weak. What can you possibly do? Li Chaopan's words were too harsh. Feng Yiran's face flushed red, and his eyes blazed with fury. What? Do you really want to fight me? You're just a spiritual grandmaster. How dare you? Li Chaopan gave Feng Yiran a sidelong glance. Feng Yiran used to be his brother-in-law, but not anymore. Let's go. Li Chaopan flicked his whip and wanted to leave. Nianyo and Feng Yi were crying. Feng Sang rushed up angrily, grabbed the tail of Li Chaopan's horse, and roared, Get down. Li Chaopan didn't show any mercy and whipped Feng Sang in the face. The long whip landed on Feng Sang's face, leaving a bloody mark. Li Chaopan, is your family going against the Feng family? Feng Yiran was furious. He stood in front of Feng Sang and shouted at Li Chaopan. Li Chaopan said, You're right. Today, we'll become enemies with the Feng clan. Feng Sang asked why. Why did Li Chaopan have such a big reaction? Of course, Li Chaopan wouldn't say that it was because of Feng Wu, because if he did, people would say that they were disloyal and that they couldn't share the hardships of their in-laws. Therefore, Duke Li had come up with an excuse. Moreover, that excuse was enough to humiliate the Feng clan. When the powerful cultivators dealt with the Feng clan, they wouldn't associate Duke Li's family with the Feng clan anymore. Li Chaopan looked around and stared at Feng Yiran and Feng Sang. He stressed each word. Are you sure you want me to say it in front of so many people? Fine. If the Feng clan isn't afraid of humiliation, so be it. What? Feng Yiran and Feng Sang blanched. Feng Wu frowned as well. Li Chaopan said, haven't I made myself clear? Your sister has made me cuckold. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Instead of drowning her in a pond, I brought her back to you in one piece. My family has shown you enough mercy. He turned to leave after that. I didn't. You're slandering me. Feng Yi, who had been hoping that Li Chaopan would take her back, was astonished. I didn't do that. You're lying. Feng Yi shouted at Li Chaopan. However, Li Chaopan didn't even look at her. He said, I've delivered her in the letter of marriage annulment. From now on, our families have nothing to do with each other. I really didn't, Feng Yi cried in despair. However, Li Chaopan didn't even look at her. There was no warmth in his eyes. Feng Sang helped Feng Yi, who was crying so hard that she was about to pass out, to her feet. Feng Yiran stepped out and blocked Li Chaopan's way. You have to catch an adulteress in bed to convict her. How did my sister make you a cuckold? Where's your witness? Where's your physical evidence? You can't say whatever you want. Li Chaopan smirked. Your Feng clan is so strange. You don't seem to mind public humiliation at all. Do they have to tell everyone about it? No one will dare to marry a daughter of your clan in the future. Feng Yiran was too furious to speak. Out of my way, Li Chaopan's whip sent Feng Yiran flying backward. Li Chaopan was about to leave with his men. He was so bloated with pride, so domineering, and so swollen with arrogance. It was simply too much. Chapter 3504. Chapter 3504. Unforeseen Event 2. Chapter 3504. Unforeseen Event 2. Thump. Feng Wu showed up when Li Chaopan kicked Feng Yiran away and wanted to storm off. Without another word, she struck out. To be more precise, she used her foot. She kicked Li Chaopan in the chest, sending the arrogant second son of Duke Li flying. Young master, the people around Li Chaopan rushed out to catch him. However, Feng Wu's kick was so hard that Li Chaopan flew back for dozens of meters before he fell to the ground. Thump! There was a human-shaped pit in the ground. Li Chaopan was stuck in it. A spiderweb-like crack spread out from the center of the pit. The two guards tried to save Li Chaopan, but they couldn't catch him. Li Chaopan was baffled. Blood trickled down the corner of his mouth as he struggled to crawl out of the pit. He wasn't the only one that was shocked. Everyone was dumbfounded. He was the second son of the Li family, and no one dared to. Well, they all fell silent when they saw who had arrived. It was Feng Wu. Feng Wu was said to have the divine phoenix blood and had made rapid progress in her cultivation. She was the top student of Imperial College and was suspected to be the Crown Prince's fiancée. It's you. Feng Wu didn't see Li Chaopan, but Li Chaopan had seen her before. For the past year, Feng Wu had been the center of attention of the younger generation. Moreover, for her birthday, all the fireworks in the city had lit up the sky, which was as resplendent as the stars. Li Chaopan wasn't blind, so of course he could see it. Therefore, Li Chaopan frowned when he saw Feng Wu. Why was Feng Wu so capable now? However, when he recalled what his mother told him, Li Chaopan smirked inwardly. No matter how capable Feng Wu was, she couldn't be more powerful than a spiritual overlord, and so many of them were trying to kill her now. She wouldn't survive. At that thought, Li Chaopan sneered at Feng Wu. With the help of his guards, he struggled to his feet, stared at Feng Wu with his cold eyes, and slowly walked toward her. Meanwhile, Feng Sang was supporting Feng Yiran. Feng Yiran was badly injured. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and hung limply on Feng Sang's shoulder. His bones felt like jelly. Feng Wu examined him and saw that 3 of his ribs were broken, and his internal organs were all injured. Before she knew it, Feng Wu was furious. Feng Wu knew better than anyone else. Since Li Chaopan chose today to leave his wife and had used such a vile excuse to offend the Feng clan, Feng Wu knew that Feng Yi would never have cheated on her husband. Hence, Li Chaopan was telling everyone that Duke Li was no longer friends with the Feng clan. Feng Wu handed Feng Sang a bottle of potion. "Give it to your brother." Feng Sang nodded. She didn't like Feng Wu at all, but when Feng Wu stepped out, she felt so safe. Feng Sang was astonished when she saw the potion. A semi-divine potion. OMG, what did she see? Was it really a semi-divine potion? Feng Wu gave it to her as if it was a bottle of water. Feng Sang turned around to ask Feng Wu, but Feng Wu and Li Chaopan were facing each other in a staring competition. Duan Chaoga had arrived at some point, and Feng Wu had sent her here to look after Feng Ran. Seeing Feng Sang standing there, Duan Chaoga uncorked the bottle and poured the potion into Feng Yuran's mouth. Chapter 3505. Chapter 3505. Unforeseen Event 3. Chapter 3505. Unforeseen Event 3. Hey! Feng Sang stared at Chaoga and Duan Chaoga in astonishment. "Do you know what potion you just fed him?" Although Feng Sang couldn't make potions, she could still recognize what it was. She was sure that it was a semi-divine potion. Chaoga glanced at her and said, "It's a semi-divine potion." That matter-of-fact tone. Feng Sang was so shocked that she didn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Li Chaopan glared at Feng Wu and threatened her. "This is none of your business. Get lost." Feng Wu gave her a half-smile. "After what I did to you, you're still threatening me. I see that you're a barking dog." As the son of Duke Li, Li Chaopan couldn't stand such sarcasm. He wanted to punch Feng Wu in the face. However, he realized something when he saw the half-smile on Feng Wu's face. Feng Wu was so much more capable than he was that he knew he wouldn't be her match. However, Li Chaopan said sarcastically, "I was wondering who it was. So it's you. You still have time to show off? If I were you, I'd be hiding in the mountains now." "Li Chaopan, do you have a death wish?" Before Feng Wu could say anything, Feng Sun quickly walked up to her and stood next to her. Li Chaopan frowned when he saw Feng Sun. He was the young master of the Duke Li family, but Feng Sun was the heir to Northern General Feng. He couldn't defeat Feng Sun in terms of his background or his own capability. Moreover, he had been beaten up by Feng Sun once when he wouldn't listen to Feng Sun, so he was a little intimidated. "Young Lord Feng, here's a piece of advice. You can't protect her even if you want to." Li Chaopan didn't want to confront Feng Sun directly, so he turned to leave. He had tried to leave the Feng clan countless times, but he was stopped every single time. It was the Feng clan's business, and Feng Sun couldn't get involved. Hence, Feng Wu nodded at him, telling him that she would handle it. Feng Sun stood there with his arms crossed. If Feng Wu could solve the problem, he would let her do it on her own. If she couldn't, he would do it. But if he couldn't, there was still the Northern Feng general's family. "All right." Feng Sun rubbed Feng Wu's head. "Go ahead. My family will take full responsibility. Apart from being Feng Wu of the Feng clan, you're also the only daughter of Northern Feng Mansion." He was showing off her power to Li Chaopan. Li Chaopan's face was livid. He threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. Feng Sun gave him a provoking look. Li Chaopan said, Fine. That's why you dared to attack me. Northern Feng Mansion is behind it. However, after what you've done, even Northern Feng Mansion won't be able to protect you. Feng Wu, you're going to die." Feng Wu said coldly. "Is that why the Li family found an excuse to get rid of the daughter of the Feng clan?" Li Chaopan was dumbfounded. So, Feng Wu knew about it. How could she not know she was being hunted? Li Chaopan smirked. "Don't make things up. Is the Li family that kind of family? I'm going to court and accuse you of framing me." Feng Wu said, "The Feng clan will sue you first. Let's go." After that, Feng Wu grabbed Li Chaopan's arm and was ready to leave. "Where are you going?" Li Chaopan wanted to shake Feng Wu off, but Feng Wu was much stronger than him, so he was as helpless as a chicken. Chapter 3506. Chapter 3506. The Unforeseen Event 4. Chapter 3506. The Unforeseen Event 4. Didn't you say you were going to sue me for framing you? Come, let's go to see His Majesty. I'm going to sue you back. Feng Wu showed no mercy and dragged Li Chaopan away. Li Chaopan panicked a little. Duke Li's family did this thing in a hurry, and they had no evidence whatsoever. Feng, he had been kicked out because of their bullying. Let go of me. Li Chaopan tried to break free. Li Chaopan cracked his whip as he struggled. Feng Wu took the whip, pinned Li Chaopan's hands behind his back, and tied him up with a black whip. Li Chaopan was furious. Were they really going to see the emperor? If she made it formal? At that thought, Li Chaopan shot warning glances at both sides. Duke Li's family had made this decision together, so Li Chaopan had brought quite a few goons with him. The most capable of them was almost a spiritual overlord. As soon as that man made his move, Feng Sun stopped him, making it impossible for him to get close to Feng Wu. By then, some of the men Li Chaopan had brought with him had already gone back home for help. Li Chaopan still wouldn't stop struggling. Feng Wu smacked him on the head and almost cracked his skull open. He grimaced in pain. Just then, they heard a taunting voice a short distance away. I thought the Feng clan was quite a good family, but as it turned out, their daughter is an adulteress. No family would want to marry the Feng family's daughters anymore. TSK, TSK, how dare they try to fawn at His Royal Highness? Shame on them. Li Chaopan looked up, and his eyes lit up. Qingxi, help me. It was Zhuo Qingxi, the only direct descendant of the Zhuo family apart from Zhuo Qingwan. Zhuo Qingxi wasn't raised by Mrs. Zhuo and was always by his master's side. He only came back to the Zhuo family once in a while, so only a handful of people knew him. But Li Chaopan did. He was Zhuo Qingxi's only childhood friend. Zhuo Qingxi nodded and turned to Feng Wu. Let go of him. Li Chaopan turned around and smirked at Feng Wu. Do you know who he is? He's Zhuo Qingxi, the son of the Zhuo family. He's as talented as Zhuo Qingwan. You're doomed. Feng Wu glanced at her. Li Chaopan said, he's a few years older than Zhuo Qingwan, and he's more capable than her now. Feng Wu, you're about the same level as Zhuo Qingwan and a level 2 spiritual king. You're so dead. A level 2 spiritual king? Feng Wu gave Li Chaopan a strange look. That was such a long way off. She was already a level 6 spiritual king, but because she had saved Bao Er, she had temporarily dropped to a level 4 spiritual king. Given some time, she was confident that she could make it back. Zhuo Qingxi. Feng Wu glanced at him. I've never met him. What a coincidence. As soon as Zhuo Qingxi went back to the Zhuo family, Mrs. Zhuo held him in her arms and cried. She then told him that Feng Wu had destroyed Zhuo Qingwan's true phoenix blood. Yes, they could assassinate Feng Wu, but it wouldn't feel as satisfying. Since Feng Wu had destroyed Zhuo Qingwan's true phoenix blood, Zhuo Qingxi felt that if he couldn't kill Feng Wu in public, there was no point in taking revenge. That was why he was here. He happened to run into Feng Wu and Li Chaopan, so he stepped out without hesitation. You're not just a level 2 spiritual king. Zhuo Qingxi stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu stared back at him. You're not just a level 2 spiritual king either. Chapter 3507. Chapter 3507. Yuri the Bully. Chapter 3507. Yuri a Bully. You're not just a level 2 spiritual king. Zhuo Qingxi stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu stared back at him. You're not just a level 2 spiritual king either. Zhuo Qingxi stared at Feng Wu. Bring it on. All eyes were on Zhuo Qingxi. The news that Feng Wu had single-handedly defeated the military academy students had already gotten around. Therefore, the crowd knew how capable Feng Wu was. They were astonished when they saw that someone had challenged Feng Wu. I'm Zhuo Qingxi of the Zhuo family in a level 7 spiritual king, Zhuo Qingxi announced. As soon as he showed his true capability, everyone was excited. A level 7 spiritual king? Really? Was he that powerful? Zhuo Qingxi stared at Feng Wu with unblinking eyes. Do you dare to fight me? I'm a level 9 spiritual king. Do you dare to fight me? Feng Sun walked out from behind Feng Wu and stared at Zhuo Qingxi. Zhuo Qingxi didn't know what to say. Young Lord Feng, why are you doing this to me? What did I do to you? Feng Sun asked arrogantly. Zhuo Qingxi said, Young Lord Feng is 2 levels higher than me. Feng Sun crossed his arms. You're 3 levels higher than Xiao Wu. What do you say about that? Zhuo Qingxi was rendered speechless. If he can't do it, can I? Someone walked out of the crowd. They turned around to find a pretty teenage girl. It was Hua Wushuang. Hua Wushuang didn't come alone. She had brought some maids and grannies with her. One of the grannies had bright eyes and a calm look on her face. She was anything but ordinary. Putting her hands behind her back, Hua Wushuang strolled toward Feng Wu. She stopped in front of Feng Wu with a cold look in her eyes. I'm a level 4 spiritual king. Don't tell me you don't even have the courage to fight me. Hua Wushuang smirked. A level 4 spiritual king. The others were all surprised. What was wrong with this world? Why was every one of the younger generations so talented? Why did it feel like there were so many spiritual kings among the younger generation? Zhuo Qingxi stared at Feng Wu and smirked. What? Aren't you going to accept a challenge from a level 4 spiritual king? Feng Wu glanced at him and ignored his question. Zhuo Qingxi had never been ignored like this before, and he felt awful. Feng Wu glanced at Hua Wushuang. Ever since she got back from Nest, she had been running into Hua Wushuang everywhere, trying to get her attention. Feng Wu wanted to ignore her, but she kept popping up. Still, Hua Wushuang's arrival did fit Feng Wu's plan. However, Feng Wu had something else to do. She went up to Feng Yi. Feng Yi was trembling in Feng Sang's arms. Feng Wu reached out and saw that Feng Yi was shaking violently. Are you injured? Feng Wu frowned. Feng Sang was infuriated. She pointed at Li Chaopan and said, They've hit her with a whip. My sister is covered with whip marks. It's so scary. After that, Feng Sang rolled up Feng Yi's sleeve and exposed half of her arm to Feng Wu. The marks were clear and bloody. They've gone too far. Not only did they slander my sister, but they also humiliated her after they divorced her. That's outrageous. Before she knew it, Feng Sang found Feng Wu to be the pillar of the family. She probably didn't realize it herself. Chapter 3508. Chapter 3508. Stop lying to yourself. Chapter 3508. Stop lying to yourself. Feng Sang couldn't wait to tell Feng Wu what had happened. Feng Wu nodded. I see. She then turned to Feng Yi. What do you want? Feng Yi stared at Feng Wu in bewilderment. She wondered if she was hallucinating. Why was everything so different from what she knew? 8 years ago, Feng Wu was a genius. Back then, all eyes were on her, and she was the center of attention. When Feng Yi got married, everyone called Feng Wu a good for nothing. Therefore, when Feng Wu's name was mentioned, no one in Feng Yi's family would say a thing about her. In the past year or two, she had occasionally heard the news about Feng Wu in the Duke's mansion, but most of the time, it was accompanied by bad news. Even her mother and sisters had been saying bad things about Feng Wu when they visited her in the Duke's mansion. And now, it was only a moment ago when Feng Sang acted as if Feng Wu was in charge of the Feng clan, and Feng Yi didn't know how to react when Feng Sang complained to Feng Wu. So, do you have any requests? Feng Wu asked earnestly. Feng Yi looked at Feng Wu in bewilderment. Seeing Feng Wu like this, Feng Yi almost felt that Feng Wu could grant all her wishes. However, the Feng clan was clearly being bullied by Duke Li's family, and there was nothing she could do. Feng Wu asked casually, How long do you need to think about it? Feng Yi said, I need hours. All right. Feng Wu nodded. All right. Then, so many people had been enjoying the show, but they were suddenly told to wait. Li Chaopan frowned and stared at Feng Wu. What's that supposed to mean? He saw that Feng Wu was setting on the formation as if no one else was around. As she set up the formation, she took out a pen and began to draw something. She looked very serious, as if she was really setting up a formation to trap all of them here. Li Chaopan was speechless. So was Hua Wushuang and Zhu Qingxi. Immediately, everyone gave Feng Wu strange looks. They couldn't understand why Feng Wu could ignore so many people. Feng Yi was shocked as well. 2 hours? Just like that. Feng Sang took Feng Yi's hand. Sister, think about it. What do you want? What did she want? Of course, Feng Yi wanted everything to go away, but was that even possible? Feng Yi didn't know what to do from now on. She began to cry. Feng Sang was exasperated. She took Feng Yi's hand and said, Sister, do you have any idea what's going on here? Xiao Wu has given you 2 extra hours. Do you think it's that easy? Everything you're saying now will affect your future and the reputation of the girls of the Feng clan? Think carefully. Don't tell me that you're still delusional and want to go back to Duke Li's family. Sister, you of all people should know what you have or haven't done. You didn't do anything wrong, but they can slander you and beat you up whenever they want. They can leave your child behind, they can get rid of you, and they can humiliate the Feng clan. Sister, are you still hoping that he'll be in love with you? Wake up. Feng Sang's words were like needles stabbing into Feng Yi's head. Feng Yi was devastated. She wanted to deny it, but a voice in her head told her to stop lying to herself. That was it. Chapter 3509. Chapter 3509. Yuminji is here. Chapter 3509. Yuminji is here. Stop lying to yourself. That's the way it is. Li Chaopan is going to abandon you. Duke Li's family is going to humiliate the Feng clan, and they're abusing their power. There's no reasoning behind it. Feng Yi recalled how she had been framed, and how Li Chaopan had dragged her out of bed and tied her up with a strange man. She hated him so much. Daughters of the Feng clan might be confused at first, but they were tough girls deep down. After her initial fear, Feng Yi soon rose to her feet. She went up to Feng Wu and asked, Can I ask for anything I want? Feng Wu nodded. Of course. Feng Yi asked, Will it get you in trouble? Feng Wu said, That depends. Feng Yi said, I want a divorce. I don't want to be divorced. I want to divorce him on my own terms. Clenching her fists, Feng Yi stressed each word. And I didn't have an affair with anyone. Feng Yi pointed at Li Chaopan a short distance away. I took a nap around noon, and he dragged me out of bed. He then tied me up with a naked man and slandered me. Feng Yi didn't think that Feng Wu could make things right for her. Feng Wu was only a girl, and even younger than her. What did she possibly? Feng Yi made up her mind. As soon as Feng Yi said that, the looks the others gave Li Chaopan changed. Li Chaopan smirked. That's some backstabbing. Are all girls of the Feng clan like that? They can make such shameless claims. I can't afford to offend someone like that. Feng Wu glanced at Li Chaopan. Bring me the man who's said to be fornicating with my sister. Li Chaopan was about to turn her down when Feng Wu cut him off. If you don't send him here to clear the name of the Feng clan, well, I'm sure the daughters of Duke Li's family have their own reputation to protect. Li Chaopan's face darkened. Feng Wu went on. Even if your family doesn't have a daughter, you still have women in your family. I have all the time in the world to play this game. It was a threat. It was obviously a threat. Do you think your threat will work? Li Chaopan smirked. You're just a petty. What about me? Feng Sun stood by Feng Wu's side and supported her. Li Chaopan gritted his teeth. What if I'm included? A cold voice rang out. Are more people coming? Who could it be? Just then, a handsome teenager showed up in front of Feng Wu and greeted her with a smile. Hello, it's been a while. Are you bullying someone again? It was Yuminji, whom she hadn't seen for a while. Feng Wu said, I didn't know you were still alive. Had it not been for Yuminji's sudden appearance, Feng Wu would have forgotten who he was. Yuminji had been in seclusion ever since they parted. It had been a year or two since they last met. Bah! Hearing what Feng Wu said, Yuminji said, What do you mean by I'm still alive? I've always been fine, okay? You heartless girl. I heard that someone was after you and came all the way here to save you. Is this how you treat me? Yuminji's words were a mixture of truth and lies. making it impossible to tell them apart. But one thing was for sure. Feng Sun had goosebumps all over when he saw Yu Minji. He immediately hid Feng Wu behind him and stared at the latter. Chapter 35:10. Chapter 35:10. Clear my name. Chapter 35:10. Clear my name. What are you doing here? Feng Sun stared at Yu Minji with cold eyes. You. Minji rolled his eyes at him. Why can't I come when you're here? Feng Sun said, I'm her brother. Yu Minji asked, biological brother. Feng Sun said, none of your business. Yu Minji said, if not, why are you so pretentious? Feng Sun said. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. The two of them would start fighting as soon as they met. Are you 3-year-olds? Feng Wu stared at them in resignation. This isn't the time for bickering. Control yourself, will you? Move. The two teenagers moved in unison. Crossing their arms and raising their chins, they turned left and right respectively. The crowd was speechless. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Don't you want that so-called adulterer? I brought him to you. After that, Yu Minji waved his hand. An elder who had been hiding somewhere threw a man who was tied up like a bundle onto the stage. He was quite tall, had a fair, handsome face, and his amorous eyes were teary. One couldn't help but feel sorry for him. Feng Wu didn't like the look of the man at all. The man didn't look straight at all. If he had to have an affair with someone, it should be Li Chaopan, not Feng Yi. Feng Wu looked at Yu Minji. Yu Minji gloated. I was here a long time ago. I couldn't wait to come to your rescue when I saw you getting attacked. However, the head of the elders said that if I could find this person with your intelligence, you would be able to clear the name of the Feng clan and restore your reputation. That was why I went to Duke Li's mansion and got him out. Do you know who he is? Gosh, let me tell you something. His identity is quite interesting. He's actually... Ha ha ha. I'll tell you later. Yu Minji decided to leave someone hanging at that critical moment. Feng Wu rolled her eyes at him. Is this the so-called adulterer you're talking about? Feng Wu asked Li Chaopan. Li Chaopan frowned, and his face darkened. Feng Yi recognized him. She stepped forward and said to Feng Wu in excitement, It's him. Li Chaopan has tied me to him. Everyone in his family knows it. No one can lie about it. Feng Wu smiled at Li Chaopan. That is to say, he really is the person I'm looking for. Li Chaopan said, let him go. Feng Wu asked why. Li Chaopan said, my family will take care of him. Give him to me. After that, Li Chaopan ordered his men to grab the man. However, Yu Minji's men weren't there to be trifled with. The crown prince of the Dark Court wouldn't let anyone mess with him. Xiao Wu, do you know where I found him? I don't want to offend your ears. Feng Wu asked, where did you find him? Yu Minji grinned. From someone's bed, of course. In broad daylight. Feng Wu was confused. Are you saying that Lady Li? Shut up. Li Chaopan's face turned livid before Feng Wu could finish. Those who slander a duke's wife will die. Li Chaopan gritted his teeth. However, Yu Minji darted a look at him. Did you think I brought him here because of your mother's misconduct? How can you be so disrespectful? What will your mother think when she knows you've slandered her like this? Li Chaopan was speechless. Chapter 35:11. Chapter 35:11. Young Master. Chapter 35:11. Young Master. Glaring at Yu Minji, Li Chaopan tried to hit him, but Yu Minji knocked him away with a finger. You can't offend a spiritual overlord. He smirked. Li Chaopan's arrogance was immediately extinguished by Yu Minji and turned into endless rage. Yu Minji said, why are you staring at me like that? Did I say anything about your mother? Is she the only one in the house? That was... The more he said, the more he fed other people's imagination. Li Chaopan wasn't Yu Minji's match, and his family didn't have any spiritual overlords either. Therefore, he had to turn to Zhuo Qingxi for help. However, Zhuo Qingxi was only a level 7 spiritual king and couldn't be compared to Yu Minji at all. He would only get beaten up. Therefore, he didn't dare to make any reckless moves. Feng Sun frowned a little. Yu Minji was so annoying. Why did he have to steal the spotlight now? At that thought, Feng Sun shielded Feng Wu from Yu Minji. It just so happened that Yu Minji was slightly more capable than Feng Sun. He walked up to Feng Sun and bumped into him, knocking Feng Sun out of the way. Yu Minji immediately stood next to Feng Wu. Feng Sun wanted to smack them. However, as soon as he started waving his fists, Yu Minji raised his chin in satisfaction. "Bring it on. What are you waiting for?" Feng Sun said, "I'll forgive you for that." Feng Wu felt a headache coming on. "Quiet. Move." They looked away from each other again. Feng Wu rubbed her temple and decided to ignore these two brats for now, or they would drive her crazy. At that thought, Feng Wu turned to look at the person Yu Minji had brought here. He was a slender teenager with fair skin. The most eye-catching thing about him was his amorous eyes. Before he said anything, his limpid eyes were already mesmerizing. Feng Wu asked indifferently, "What's your name?" The person on the ground ignored Feng Wu. Because to him, the Feng clan was simply too weak. Their daughter was nothing. But this time, he had messed with the wrong person. Before Feng Sun could scold him, Yu Minji marched up to him and kicked him in the chest with the toe of his boots. "We're talking to you. Are you deaf?" His bellow gave everyone the creeps, and the young man trembled in fear. Yu Minji was so terrifying. He really wouldn't think twice before killing someone. He shuddered at the thought of the people killed in Duke Li's manor and looked at Yu Minji with his limpid, amorous eyes. "Lian Sheng, my name is Lian Sheng." What an ugly name. Yu Minji hated it when a man pretended to be pitiful. Hence, he kicked Lian Sheng again, sending him flying back until he landed right next to Li Chaopan. Li Chaopan grabbed him and asked anxiously, "Are you all right?" Lian Sheng wrapped his arms around Li Chaopan's waist and cried, "Young master, help me." Li Chaopan nodded solemnly and gently put him on the ground. After putting Lian Sheng down, Li Chaopan realized what he had done when he saw the stunned looks on everyone's faces. He looked up at Feng Wu and saw the smirk on her face. What was going on? He seemed to have done that involuntarily when he should have kept his secret. Lian Sheng looked like he had been drugged. He stopped pretending and grabbed Li Chaopan's hand. Chapter 35:12. Chapter 35:12. Don't you want me anymore? Chapter 35:12. Don't you want me anymore? Lian Sheng acted as if he had been drugged. He stopped pretending and grabbed Li Chaopan's hand. Li Chaopan wanted to throw his hand off. After all, everyone was watching. However, Lian Sheng had been standing timidly behind him. He was half a head shorter than Li Chaopan and looked so fragile that he could be blown away by a gust of wind. He was much weaker than a girl. Li Chaopan threw off his hand. He looked at Li Chaopan with teary eyes. "Young master, don't you want me anymore?" Holy crap, that was too much information. No one here was an idiot. They all saw what was going on, especially the Feng family. Feng, he stared at Li Chaopan and Lian Sheng in disbelief. Suddenly, she covered her mouth with both hands and burst into tears. She stared at Li Chaopan in disbelief, and her pale lips trembled with agitation. "I remember now. Last time in the East Wing, when I pushed the door open, you were rolling around in bed with someone. You hid that person behind your back and scolded me. I didn't know you had a boy toy. Li Chaopan, you have a male lover, but you're slandering me for having an affair with him. You even tied him and me together. Not only that, but you're also divorcing me and slandering the reputation of the Feng clan. Li Chaopan, you deserve to die." A moment ago, Feng Yi still had feelings for Li Chaopan, so she was on his side. But now that Li Chaopan was exposed, she could see how mean he was. She was furious. Li Chaopan wanted to run up to her in anger, but Lian Sheng behaved as if he had taken the truth serum. He had revealed all the truth. "Young master, do you really not want me anymore?" Li Chaopan kicked him in a rage. Lian Sheng fell to the ground and burst into tears. Scrambling to his feet, he ran toward the door, saying, "I'll go talk to Duke Li." Li Chaopan wanted to kick him again. However, Yu Minji's men stepped out and stopped Li Chaopan. Yu Minji grinned at him. "Why?" He said he was going to ask your dad for help. "Why are you so worried?" Li Chaopan wanted to flee, but Yu Minji stopped him. Where do you think you're going? You broke off your marriage with the daughter of the Feng family, and you're running away now? Turning around, Yu Minji looked at Feng Wu. If I were you, I'd go tell the emperor now. Feng Wu nodded. That's what I was thinking. With a wave of his hand, Yu Minji said, take Li Chaopan and this man with you. Let's go to His Majesty now. Hey you, are you from Duke Li's mansion? You should grab your master right now. Someone had already gone to look for Duke Li. Meanwhile, Li Chaopan's face was livid. He didn't want His Majesty to hear about it, because Duke Li's family was indeed in the wrong. Yu Minji was completely unreasonable, so Li Chaopan didn't want to talk to him. Hence, he turned to Feng Wu. May I have a word with you? Feng Wu said, do tell. Li Chaopan whispered something to Feng Wu. Feng Wu looked at him in bewilderment. Li Chaopan bent down and whispered something else. Feng Wu said, what? You're going to give me 10,000 taels of silver so that I can stay out of this? SSSS. Everyone stared at Li Chaopan. Li Chaopan said, I didn't say that. However, the others weren't blind and could make their own judgments. They all found Feng Wu's words much more credible. Chapter 35:13. Chapter 35:13. Your request. Chapter 35:13. Your request. Li Chaopan had no idea what to do with Feng Wu. While he looked at Feng Wu in disbelief. Feng Wu's reaction surprised her. How could she be so confident? Moreover, things had really changed as she had said. In fact, the Feng clan had gained the upper hand. Feng Wu looked back at Feng Yi. Feng Sang pulled Feng Yi over immediately. Feng Wu looked at Feng Yi seriously. What do you think? Feng Yi asked, what do you mean? Feng Wu said, you have a few options now. The first one is to go back with Li Chaopan and continue your path as the daughter-in-law of Duke Li. You'll have to put up with your husband who doesn't treat you as a human and will continue to sleep with his toy boy. It'll be a mess. The faces of the people from Duke Li's family darkened, but no one dared to refute Feng Wu because what she said was true. Feng Wu said, the second option is divorce. Li Chaopan wanted to divorce you by kicking you out, but we can turn this into a fair divorce. You'll take the initiative to propose the divorce and take the dowry back. From then on, we'll have nothing to do with Duke Li's family. Feng Wu said, you only have 5 minutes left. Make the choice now. Feng Yi said, can I still choose now? Do I still have the right to do that? I don't want to implicate my sisters. The Feng clan's reputation must be restored. As for myself, it doesn't matter. Back then, I was blind enough to choose Li Chaopan myself. In the end, he turned out to be such a despicable person. I don't have any other thoughts in my life. I only want to take care of my parents and raise my children at home. From then on, I won't have anything to do with the outside world. I'd rather die than go back to that family, but my son is still there. I can imagine what kind of a person they'll raise him into. Xiao Wu. He looked at Feng Wu pleadingly. She knew very well that her father, mother, and siblings couldn't help her, except for Feng Wu. At that thought, He looked at Feng Wu pleadingly again. Nyonyo and Guangguang are both my children. I can't bear to see a little boy stay in a place like that. I'm not asking to change a surname to mine. I just want to raise my son and daughter myself. Feng Wu summed it up for her. So, your request is 1. You'll propose a divorce and take back your dowry. 2. The Feng clan's reputation will be restored, and so will be yours. 3. Your son will return to you. 4. No one in Duke Li's mansion will be allowed to harass you. Feng Wu's request was even more demanding than Feng Yi's, so she looked at Feng Wu in a daze. Feng Wu asked, is that all? Feng Yi said, yes, but she didn't even dare to hope that Duke Li's family would stop harassing her. She was already prepared for a long-term confrontation. Feng Wu turned to Li Chaopan. Did you hear that? She was very busy and wanted to get this done as soon as possible. However, Li Chaopan sneered. That's impossible. Feng Wu looked at Yu Minji. Yu Minji understood right away. Let's go and report to the emperor. With that, he picked up Li Chaopan and headed for the Imperial Palace, as if he was handling a chicken. Feng Wu followed him. So did Feng Yi, still looking confused. Lady Wang never came out. Neither did Feng Yinfeng. Feng Wu, Feng Sang, and even Feng Yiran knew Feng Wu was here, but the two people had never come out. Master, madam, what should we do now? Feng Yinfeng and Lady Wang didn't come out, but they watched from outside. Chapter 35:14. Chapter 35:14. Case closed. Chapter 35:14. Case closed. Feng Yinfeng was a little embarrassed when he heard what the steward said. What happened outside was such a big deal. In fact, he wanted to go out at first, but the people from Duke Li's family were too fierce and domineering. He was afraid that he would be beaten up if he went out. Who knew that things would turn out like this? Seeing that Feng Wu had the upper hand, Feng Yinfeng wanted to come out, but Lady Wang told him that Feng Wu might still lose. In the end, the couple hid behind the door and peeked out through the crack until Feng Wu and the others left. Feng Yinfeng wanted to come out, but the people outside wouldn't leave. Not only that, but they also sat on the ground and chatted in groups of twos and threes. Everyone was guessing who would win. They were sitting here just to wait for an outcome. Initially, they thought that they would wait for a long time. Some people even brought over stools, and street vendors were already selling drinks and snacks. However, they never expected that they would have the outcome so quickly. An hour later, Feng Wu returned with Feng Yi. The people from Duke Li's family moved Feng Yi's dowry into the Feng clan in large carriages. The crowd was astonished. Even Feng Yinfeng himself was shocked, let alone the onlookers. When Feng Yi married back then, did she have so much dowry? He didn't think so. Hence, Feng Yinfeng walked out. Before he could ask, Feng Sang shouted angrily, "Father, you're finally here." Feng Yinfeng was embarrassed. He was the braver one. His wife still didn't dare to come out. "What's going on?" Feng Yinfeng asked with a straight face, pretending that he had just come back. The surrounding people started to talk among themselves. "Did Master Feng just come back? We've been sitting here. Wouldn't we have seen him come back? Maybe he came in from the back door. It's not like we don't have people sitting there. I didn't hear them say anything." Feng Yinfeng blushed at the discussions around him. But he pretended not to hear anything and just looked at Feng Sang. Feng Sang didn't know whether it was true or not. Fortunately, although Feng Yinfeng didn't show up, the Feng clan still benefited greatly. Hence, Feng Sang told Feng Yinfeng what had happened in court. It would also give an explanation to the onlookers. It turned out that Li Chaopan still wanted to argue after they got there, but Feng Wu and Yu Minji threw evidence at him one after another. Duke Li and Li Chaopan were both dumbfounded. If he continued to quibble, he was afraid that more information disadvantageous to Duke Li's family would be revealed. In the end, Duke Li had to admit defeat. He asked Li Chaopan to welcome Feng Yi back and pretend that none of this had happened. However, Feng Yi wouldn't have it and insisted on a divorce. Feng Sang found it strange. His Majesty, who was supposed to be dignified, looked so kind when he saw Feng Wu. Even her father didn't treat her so kindly. His Majesty's verdict was exactly the same as Feng Wu had requested. He granted Feng Wu's all requests. Therefore, in less than 2 hours, the lawsuit that had reached the emperor was closed. The Feng clan won, and Duke Li lost. As Feng Sang spoke, her cadence rose and fell, and she reenacted everything that had happened in the throne room. "I really didn't expect Duke Li's family to be so vicious. Their family is really in a mess. And that Lin Sheng, TSK. Chapter 35:15. Chapter 35:15. Yu Minji won. Chapter 35:15. Yu Minji won. Feng Sang said proudly, her face glowing. This time, she could really hold her head high. Feng Sang couldn't help but look at Feng Wu when she told the story. She had discovered the truth. She had been miserable when she was Feng Wu's enemy, but it was great when she was Feng Wu's teammate. When Feng Sang finished, Feng Yinfeng gave her a strange look. "So, the Feng clan won the lawsuit." Feng Sang said matter-of-factly, "Of course. With Feng Wu around, we won't lose." With that, The group entered the house. At that moment, Lady Wang walked out and glared at Feng Sang. What are you talking about? Feng Sang got excited. Mother, you didn't go to the palace. There were so many civil and military officials there, and they were all staring at us. I was so nervous, but Feng Wu kept talking and was so aggressive toward Duke Li. Duke Li was so angry that he stomped his feet, but he couldn't do anything to her. Lady Wang wanted to say something, but no words came out. She gave Feng Wu a silent look, then turned to Feng Yi. Feng Yi's matter was resolved just like that. Of course, there would be future troubles, but they wouldn't surface for the time being. Fallen Star Yard. Yu Minji gloated. What do you think? I'm good, aren't I? If I hadn't brought that Lian Sheng here at the critical moment, you wouldn't have one so easily. Feng Wu said, right? Yu Minji said, hey, what's with that look on your face? Shouldn't you be admiring me now? Feng Sun couldn't take it anymore and glared at him. Yu Minji, that's enough. Yu Minji snorted. I'm better than you right now. What, are you jealous? Then become a spiritual overlord like me. Feng Sun was so angry that smoke almost came out of his head. He was already a level 9 spiritual king, and he would be able to reach the spiritual overlord realm in the blink of an eye. But that still hadn't happened. What could Feng Sun do? He could only change the subject. What are you doing here? Yu Minji looked at Feng Sun in resignation. Are you an idiot? Of course, I'm here to, well, save Xiao Wu. Feng Sun gave Yu Minji a suspicious look. Why did he have a strange feeling that Yu Minji was here for something else? Tell me the truth. Feng Sun stared at Yu Minji. It was a pity that Feng Sun wasn't Jun Lin Yuan. If Jun Lin Yuan had said that with a straight face, Yu Minji might have been terrified. But Feng Sun, what do you mean? Can't I save Xiao Wu? Do you know how many people are watching Xiao Wu and how many spiritual overlords have gathered in the Imperial capital to kill her? Yu Minji snorted. I've already said that anyone who wants to kill Xiao Wu will have to walk over my dead body. Feng Sun frowned. How can your father let it go if you're dead? Yu Minji said, that's why the Dark Dynasty is fighting for Xiao Wu this time. That involved a lot of things. Feng Sun didn't believe him. You're a wastrel. How could your father allow you to do that? Yu Minji put his hands on his hips and said smugly, that's why I have to take my wife back and let my father know how wonderful the person I want to protect is. Wait, Feng Sun finally realized what he meant. What did you just say? Your wife? Who's your wife? Yu Minji stared at Feng Sun as if he were an idiot. Chapter 35:16. Chapter 35:16. Yu Minji 2. Chapter 35:16. Yu Minji 2. Feng Sun said, are you referring to? Yu Minji said, of course. I'll marry no one but Xiao Wu. Feng Wu smacked Yu Minji on the head. Watch your language. Yu Minji rubbed his head where Feng Wu had knocked him and looked at Feng Wu in frustration. I'm only telling the truth. Why wouldn't you believe me? I dare you to call her your wife again. Feng Sun flared up. She's my buddy's girl. Get lost. Yu Minji wouldn't have it. Turning around, he gave Feng Sun a hard time. Your buddy? Which one? Feng Sun was so angry that he laughed. Who else could it be? The one that specializes in defeating you, of course. Yu Minji asked, are you talking about Jun Lin Yuan? Feng Sun asked, what? Are you scared? Yu Minji said, I'm scared? Feng Sun, I'm warning you. Even if Jun Lin Yuan is here right now, I'll still tell him I'm going to marry little Feng Wu. Feng Sun smirked. Yu Minji said, stop smirking. It's been over a year, hasn't it? Feng Sun asked, what? Yu Minji said, it's been a year and a half since Xiao Wu came to the Imperial capital from the northern border. If your crown prince really likes her, he would have married her already. I wouldn't have had a chance. Feng Sun didn't know what to say. Yu Minji said, I've heard about Zhuo Qingwan and Hua Wushuang on my way here. They're both your boss Jun's soulmates, aren't they? Feng Sun said, bullshit. It's not like that at all. Yu Minji said, I don't care. All I know is that when I came out of seclusion, Feng Wu was still available. She's mine. Feng Sun said, she's my sister. Yu Minji said, hello, brother-in-law. Feng Sun said, damn you. Feng Wu felt a headache coming on. Can the two of you stop bickering for a moment? She looked at the two of them in resignation. The beautiful lady was cultivating. Luckily, she had set up layer upon layer of formation outside the beautiful lady's room. Otherwise, the beautiful lady would have been driven insane by all the noise. Taking Feng Wu's left hand, Feng Sun said, "Xiao Wu, he started it. Get him out of here." Yu Minji took Feng Wu's free hand. "Honey, Feng Sun is picking on me." Feng Wu glared at Yu Minji. "Shut up," Yu Minji said aggrievedly. "All right." Feng Wu said, "Stop calling her honey." Yu Minji said, "Sure, honey." Feng Wu was genuinely angry now. Glaring at Yu Minji, she said, "You, Minji. All right. I won't call you that." For the time being, Yu Minji was a wise man, and he surrendered right away. Feng Sun was frustrated. Yu Minji was so shameless. After all, he was the heir to the Dark Dynasty. How could he be so shameless? He was as enthusiastic as a hungry dog when he saw Xiao Wu. What was more, no matter how Xiao Wu scolded him, he would always say yes with a smile and would do whatever he wanted later. If Boss Jun was shameless enough to do that, he would have married Feng Wu already. It just so happened that Feng Wu seemed to fall for it. Although she had scolded Yu Minji, she still treated him differently. Chapter 35:17. Chapter 35:17. Yu Minji 3. Chapter 35:17. Yu Minji 3. Feng Sun looked up at the blue sky in resignation. The more he thought about it, the more reluctant he became. He was lost in his thoughts for a while. When he turned around, he saw that Yu Minji had been following Feng Wu around and doing everything for her. Feng Wu wanted to water the plants, so he fetched some water. Feng Wu wanted to wash her hands, so he fetched the basin right away. Feng Sun was rendered speechless. How shameless! Feng Sun thought to himself in frustration. But Yu Minji was following Xiao Wu everywhere now. As the saying went, a man would change a stubborn woman in the end. What if Xiao Wu was taken away by him? Feng Sun had been so confident in Boss Jun, but when he recalled that it had been over a year since Boss Jun tried to court Feng Wu, he panicked a little. "Come out with me." Feng Sun walked up to Yu Minji and threw a dirty look at him. Of course, Yu Minji wouldn't leave. He wanted to stay with his sweet, adorable girl. However, Feng Sun reached out and dragged him away. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Finally, she could have some peace. Feng Wu sat down on a chair, rested her hands on the table, and racked her brain. She had heard from Emperor Wu that the ancient pill recipe that could control the mind of a spiritual overlord was in the Hua clan. The pill known as Intelligence Reduction Pill had been in Flower Valley for a long time. Emperor Wu told Feng Wu that the Hua clan wanted to use this ancient pill recipe as Hua Wushuang's dowry. The Intelligence Reduction Pill. If Feng Wu could get her hands on this pill recipe and make some pills, she would be able to solve a lot of problems. That pill recipe had to be with the Hua clan now. But how was she going to get it? She wished that Hua Wushuang was here. Wait. Feng Wu suddenly remembered that she had forgotten about Feng Yi. Hua Wushuang had indeed shown up before, but then she seemed to have left with Zhuo Qingxi. She could work on Hua Wushuang. At that thought, Feng Wu headed for the door. As soon as she walked out of the courtyard, she saw Feng Sun and Yu Minji crouching under the grape trellis, their heads together and whispering to each other. If she didn't know them well, she would have thought that they were best friends. Han! Yu Minji ran happily to Feng Wu's side, but Feng Wu stopped him with a stern look before he could say anything. Ouch! Yu Minji lowered his head right away. All right. I won't call you that now. We'll have all the time in the world. Feng Wu couldn't be bothered to argue with him anymore. I need your help with something, Feng Wu told Yu Minji. Yu Minji gloated right away. If he had a tail, it would be wagging now. He gave Feng Sun a gloating look as if he had become the chosen one. Feng Sun ignored him. Feng Wu whispered something in Yu Minji's ear. Yu Minji smacked his own head. Don't worry. I've done everything you asked of me, haven't I? After that, Yu Minji darted a look at Feng Sun and marched off. Feng Sun was rendered speechless. He turned to Feng Wu in bewilderment. What did you ask him to do for you? Feng Wu smiled. It's a secret. Feng Sun was displeased. You two have a secret. Feng Wu glanced at him. Can't we have secrets? Feng Sun said in a serious tone. Boss Jun won't like it. Feng Wu almost lost her temper at Feng Sun's words. Chapter 35:18. Chapter 35:18. Yuminji 4. Chapter 35:18. Yuminji 4. Your boss Jun will be unhappy? Why should I care how unhappy he is? I can't have friends because he's unhappy. Feng Sun said. That's not what I meant. Feng Wu said. My friend came all the way here to protect me when he heard that I was in trouble. I know you don't care, but I appreciate it. Feng Sun didn't know what to say. Feng Wu asked, Where's your boss Jun now? Feng Sun didn't know what to say. Feng Wu said, Apart from having an affair with Hua Wushuang, what else did he do? Feng Sun said, But Hua, boss Jun wasn't the one who had created that rumor. Feng Wu smirked. Isn't Hua Wushuang your boss Jun's idea? Why is he attracting girls all the time? After Zhuqing Wan, there's Hua Wushuang. What? Does he want to have as many women as his father does? Feng Sun felt a headache coming on. He had no idea that his sister could be so jealous. I can't argue with you, but from what I know about Boss Jun, he has to be absent for a reason. But you really shouldn't get too close to Yuminji. It's for Yuminji's own good. You know, Boss Jun used to kill people without batting an eyelash. He only became a normal person because of you. Do you realize he can kill Yuminji in a fit of rage? Feng Wu threw a dirty look at Feng Sun. Yuminji is my friend. Feng Sun said, All right. Boss Jun is your friend as well, isn't he? Feng Wu asked, What do you think? Feng Sun ran off in frustration. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself if he stayed here any longer. Crossing her hands behind her back, Feng Wu walked out of the courtyard and spotted someone. Feng Yinfeng, her uncle. Feng Wu stared at Feng Yinfeng with an indifferent look on her face. Feng Wu had always had conflicted feelings toward that family. Feng Yinfeng had been very nice to her when she was the little genius, but after her true phoenix blood was destroyed. Come to think of it, Feng Yinfeng's family had something to do with it. Feng Yinfeng cleared his throat. I haven't thanked you for what happened to E. Feng Wu stared at Feng Yinfeng and said indifferently, I'm doing this for myself. The reputation of the Feng clan's daughters will be ruined, and I'll be incriminated. Feng Yinfeng glanced at Feng Wu. What reputation? If she really cared about her reputation, she would have stood up for herself when they tried to slander her. Anyway, I owe you one, said Feng Yinfeng earnestly. Feng Wu said indifferently, I destroyed Zhuo Qingluan's true phoenix blood. Feng Yinfeng stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. Feng Wu said, She destroyed my true phoenix blood back then, so it's only fair that I destroy hers now. Feng Yinfeng said, Aren't you afraid that the Zhuo family? Feng Wu smiled. The Zhuo family isn't the only one. Feng Yinfeng asked, What do you mean? Feng Wu said indifferently, The Firmament Palace has put a price on my head. All spiritual overlords in the world can hunt me down. Feng Yinfeng almost fell to the ground. He managed to remain standing, but he was scared out of his wits. Are you kidding me? Feng Wu said earnestly. I'm not joking. Chapter 35:19. Chapter 35:19. Love Rival 1. Chapter 35:19. Love Rival 1. Feng Yinfeng said, But Feng Wu said, Zhuqing Wan was the culprit who destroyed my true phoenix blood. So, who was the accomplice? For example, who lured me out of the Feng clan and told the Zhuo family about me? Feng Yinfeng blanched. It was Feng Lu. Feng Wu said, I know that Feng Lu is involved, but since she's dead, we can forget about what happened back then. As for the people who are still alive, Feng Yinfeng's face turned pale again. Feng Wu glanced at him. I'll see how they react when all the spiritual overlords are after me. After that, Feng Wu walked out. She was very fast and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Frightened by Feng Wu, Feng Yinfeng ran back to his courtyard after Feng Wu left. This world was too terrifying. Feng Yinfeng announced that his family was in seclusion, and no one was allowed to leave the yard, let alone set foot in Fallen Star Yard anytime soon. Feng Wu knew Feng Yinfeng was terrified. She smiled when she saw Feng Yinfeng lock his family up in their own courtyard. Without the people from the main branch loitering around, the success rate of her next plan would be much higher. It didn't take long for Yu Minji to return, followed by Hua Wushuang. "Don't run. Stop right there." Hua Wushuang pointed her sword at Yu Minji. Yu Minji made a face at Hua Wushuang as he ran. "Ugly girl, how dare you compare yourself to Xiao Wu? How dare you?" Feng Wu finally understood why Hua Wushuang was so mad at Yu Minji. Yu Minji was still gloating as he ran. "I'm a spiritual overlord. Do you think you can catch up with me?" "Huh." Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Yu Minji was like a 4-year-old. Hua Wushuang was furious. She couldn't catch up with Yu Minji, but she saw Feng Wu. She was enraged when she saw her love rival. Hua Wushuang didn't chase after Yu Minji anymore. She jumped off the wall and stood in front of Feng Wu. At this moment, the two of them were standing at the entrance of the Feng clan. It was the place where everyone had gathered to watch Li Chaopan's incident the day before. The Feng clan used to be very prosperous, so the entire street was the family's property. The road at the entrance was 100 meters wide, which was why it could accommodate so many people. Not far from the entrance of the street, there were all kinds of shops. It was a bustling scene. Hence, when Hua Wushuang and Feng Wu stood opposite each other, they attracted a lot of attention. Everyone stopped and looked at them. Hua Wushuang stared at Feng Wu. "Feng Wu, what are you doing?" Feng Wu gave her a half-smile. "Interesting. Yesterday, Duke Li's family came to pick on us, and now it's the Hua family's turn. Do you all think we'll just take it without fighting back?" For a moment, everyone's attention was on Hua Wushuang. Hua Wushuang saw herself as a pure and innocent fairy. She couldn't stand being stared at by so many people. She stared at Feng Wu. "Hand over Yu Minji, or I'll kill you." Feng Wu gave her a half-smile. "That's interesting. Yu Minji is a spiritual overlord. Do you think I can order him around?" "Miss Hua, do you really have no idea how powerful he is?" Hua Wushuang was stumped by Feng Wu's words. How could she not know? She had only seen how obedient Yu Minji was to Feng Wu, and that was why. "All right, since you won't hand Yu Minji over, you can take the consequence yourself." Feng Wu asked, "Is that so?" Chapter 35:20. Chapter 35:20. Love Rival 2. Chapter 35:20. Love Rival 2. Hua Wushuang said, "Feng Wu, I want to challenge you. Now." Feng Wu gave her an indifferent look. "What if I don't accept it?" Hua Wushuang said, "Are you scared?" Feng Wu said, "I won't accept an unknown challenge. If I accept anyone's challenge, I'll be too busy to have any time to cultivate. So, you have to give me a reason." Hua Wushuang said, "Because of the crown prince." Feng Wu looked at her indifferently. "Jun Linyuan? What about him? How dare she call His Royal Highness by his name?" Hua Wushuang had already regarded Jun Linyuan as her husband. Hence, she couldn't stand Feng Wu's way of addressing him. "Do you really not know? Or are you faking it?" Hua Wushuang stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu said calmly, "What are you talking about?" Hua Wushuang didn't say anything. Instead, she raised her right arm and showed the 2 dragon and phoenix jade bracelets on her wrist. The dragon and phoenix jade bracelet is the symbol of a daughter-in-law of the royal family and the future crown prince consort. Hua Wushuang lowered her voice and whispered in Feng Wu's ear. It was a show-off and a provocation. After that, Hua Wushuang pulled away from Feng Wu and smiled at her. "Do you know the difference between us now?" Feng Wu asked. "So why are you here today?" Hua Wushuang. "To teach you a lesson." Feng Wu was confused. "Teach me a lesson?" Hua Wushuang said, "I know you knew the crown prince before I did, and that he treats you differently. I even know that you were once engaged. So don't worry. I won't stop you from marrying His Royal Highness, even if it's to suit His Royal Highness's wishes." Feng Wu looked at Hua Wushuang as if she was looking at a retard. Hua Wushuang glanced at Feng Wu arrogantly. "It's just that I'll be the crown prince consort, and you'll just be the concubine." Feng Wu didn't know what to say. Nearby, Yuminji was speechless. The onlookers further away were all dumbfounded. So, today's battle was between the crown prince's future wife and his future concubine. Wait, didn't they say that Feng Wu is the future crown prince's consort? Can't you tell? That Miss Hua has replaced her. I heard that the Hua family is from the Flower Valley, one of the 9 major clans. They're very well connected and have a lot of capable cultivators. The Feng clan isn't what it used to be, so it's possible that Miss Feng is no longer a consort and is replaced by Miss Hua. Hua Wushuang stared at Feng Wu. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hua Wushuang had a granny with her, and she was Aunt Shi, who was Hua Wushuang's personal guard arranged by Mrs. Hua. Aunt Shi stared at Feng Wu with a grim look on her face. Do you understand what Miss Hua is saying? Feng Wu looked at Hua Wushuang and sighed. So what on earth do you want? Hua Wushuang stared at Feng Wu. I'll defeat you fair and square, and let everyone know that I'm better than you. I deserve to be the crown prince's wife. Feng Wu looked into her eyes. You look so aloof yourself, but why are you so shameless when it comes to men? Even Zhuo Qingluan isn't your match in that aspect. You're dead. Hua Wushuang couldn't stand it when Feng Wu taunted her. She had lowered her voice so that only Feng Wu could hear her. Chapter 35:21. Chapter 35:21. Love Rival 3. Chapter 35:21. Love Rival 3. Since the others couldn't hear her, they didn't know what she really was like. It seemed that her grandmother was right. She had to defeat Feng Wu. Without another word, Hua Wushuang shot a streak of spiritual essence at Feng Wu. She was already a peak level 4 spiritual king, and she believed Feng Wu was only a junior one. Therefore, Hua Wushuang was confident that she could crush Feng Wu with one strike. But Feng Wu, on the other hand, remained where she was. When the spiritual essence reached Feng Wu, she pressed her palms together and pushed forward. She struck back at Hua Wushuang. Hua Wushuang blanched. She could sense the fluctuation of spiritual essence. Wasn't Feng Wu a junior level for spiritual king? How? Thump. Feng Wu hit Hua Wushuang in the stomach, and the latter flew backward. She flew toward Fallen Star Yard. Feng Wu had set up a formation in Fallen Star Yard, and normal people shouldn't have been able to get in. However, for some unknown reason, Hua Wushuang had fallen in. A nut, she frowned. Without another word, she struck out at Feng Wu. However, Yuminji had blocked her way. Hey, old hag, the 2 girls are fighting. Why are you getting involved? Elder. One, come here. Yuminji let his elder fight, Aunt Shi. As soon as they exchanged blows, Yuminji realized that Aunt Shi was far more capable than he was. Feng Wu darted a look at Yuminji, who nodded. Feng Wu didn't make any unnecessary moves. Instead, she charged at Fallen Star Yard and shouted, Hua Wushuang, where are you going? Get up and fight again. Immediately after that, the sound of fighting came from inside. But in fact, in Fallen Star Yard, Hua Wushuang lay on the ground and couldn't get up, because Feng Wu was stepping on her. She stared at Feng Wu in disbelief and couldn't understand why. How did this happen? Why? She had been defeated with one strike. Why was Feng Wu so much better than her? Your capability. Hua Wushuang gritted her teeth and stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu glanced at her. Didn't anyone tell you that I was only temporarily reduced to a level 4 spiritual king? Hua Wushuang said, temporarily. Feng Wu said, that's right. I became a level 6 spiritual king last night. Do you have a problem with that? Hua Wushuang said, you're a level 6 spiritual king. Feng Wu smiled. Yes, that's right. But it's too late to tell you now. You need to do something for me. What did she need? Before Hua Wushuang could ask anything, Feng Wu knocked her out. When Hua Wushuang woke up again, she had no idea that someone had changed her clothes. She had changed into Feng Wu's clothes, Feng Wu's dress, Feng Wu's outfit, and Feng Wu's face. As for Feng Wu herself, she had become Hua Wushuang. I've fed her the energy dissipating potion. She won't be able to activate her spiritual essence for a while. Keep an eye on her, Feng Wu told Chaoga and Xiuling. Both of them were shocked by Feng Wu's decision. Luckily, they were used to it and soon accepted it. With the truth serum, Hua Wushuang spat out everything she didn't want to say. Chapter 35:22. Chapter 35:22. Love Rival 4. Chapter 35:22. Love Rival 4. I'll be back soon. Feng Wu reminded her friends before she tried to get in again. The next second, Miss Hua, she picked up Feng Wu, who was Hua Wushuang in her eyes. Miss, are you all right? Feng Wu shook her head, indicating that she was all right. However, she saw the big footprints on her mistress's chest and the swelling on her face. How could she be all right? Let's go back first. After all, this is her family's territory. Feng Wu reminded Aunt Shi in a low voice. Aunt Shi was thinking about the same thing, so she led Feng Wu away and soon disappeared out of sight. Did you injure Feng Wu? When Aunt Shi rushed in, she saw someone lying on the ground. It had to be Feng Wu. Feng Wu nodded. I've injured her, but I'm badly injured as well. I'll need some time to recover. Seeing that the bracelets on Feng Wu's wrist weren't broken, Aunt Shi let out a breath of relief. Miss, we didn't have to do it now. You'll have plenty of opportunities in the future. You'll be the crown prince's wife, and she'll be a concubine. Wouldn't it be better to do whatever you want her then? Feng Wu feigned an irritated look. I just don't like her. Aunt Shi sighed. Well, at least you've vented your anger. I'm afraid your grandmother will make you go into seclusion later. Feng Wu didn't speak. Soon, they were back at the Huang Manor. The manor was luxuriously decorated, and there were hundreds of pots of chrysanthemums in the courtyard. It looked refreshing and elegant. Tomorrow was Mrs. Hua's birthday, and it was going to be a chance for the Hua family to get back into the upper class of the Imperial capital. Moreover, the Empress Dowager had made that promise for the family, so Mrs. Hua took it very seriously. Feng Wu had been very focused since she entered the manor, fearing that she might make a mistake and arouse suspicion. And she stared at Feng Wu. Miss, are you badly injured? Feng Wu said, I'm all right. And she said, Miss, your heart is racing. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. As expected, all the members of these family clans were very sharp, even Aunt Shi. Luckily, Feng Wu had imitated Hua Wushuang well, or Aunt Shi would have seen through her. Aunt Shi shook her head when she saw how Feng Wu put a hand on her chest all the time. Miss, please go cultivate. I'm going to see Mrs. Hua. She left before Feng Wu could say another word. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She didn't know where to go. She wasn't the real Hua Wushuang, so she had no idea where she lived or cultivated. Just then, she heard a voice. Sister Wushuang, what's wrong? Why are your clothes dirty? It was Hua Wuyu, the girl from the second branch of the Hua family. Feng Wu hadn't met her before and didn't know her name. Sister Wushuang. Hua Wuyu looked at Feng Wu in bewilderment. What's wrong? Feng Wu put a hand on her chest. Ahem. I just had a fight. I'm all right. She didn't look all right. Wuyu immediately put her arm around Feng Wi. Sister Wushuang, let me help you. Lotus Pavilion you're cultivating in is a little far from here, but the spiritual essence there is very dense. It'll be very helpful for your recovery. Feng Wu nodded. Thank you. Hua Wuyu was surprised. Her sister had always been aloof and never showed her ordinary sisters any respect. Why? Chapter 35:23. Chapter 35:23. Blood Source Crystal 1. Chapter 35:23. Blood Source Crystal 1. Hua Wuyu was puzzled, and her expression changed a little. As smart as Feng Wu was, she was able to detect even the tiniest change in Hua Wuyu's expression. She soon came up with a plan. Feng Wu remembered that there was another girl in the Hua family, and she was Hua Wuji, the daughter of the second branch of the family. Hua Wuji was as talented as Hua Wushuang, but she had been severely injured in her early years and was half disfigured. Hence, Mrs. Hua put all her effort into Hua Wushuang. The Hua family spared no effort in cultivating Hua Wushuang with all the cultivation techniques and resources they had. As for Hua Wuji, she seemed to have been abandoned. Feng Wu learned about it when she interrogated Hua Wushuang with the truth serum. Time was of the essence, so Feng Wu only knew a little. She didn't know the details. Feng Wu asked involuntarily, "Where's Wuji?" Hua Wuji was the third daughter of her generation in the Hua clan. She and Hua Wuyu were sisters. Hua Wuyu blanched at the mention of her sister and forced a smile. "My sister is cultivating in seclusion." Feng Wu said, "Grandma's birthday is coming, but she's still in seclusion." Hua Wuyu said, "My sister said she would come out in advance." Feng Wu said, "Bring her to me when she's out." Hua Wuyu looked nervously at Feng Wu. Feng Wu asked, "What? Do you have a problem with that?" She sounded so arrogant. Feng Wu knew perfectly well that Hua Wushuang was as arrogant as a peacock to those she knew. As expected, Hua Wuyu wasn't surprised by Feng Wu's attitude. That was how arrogant Hua Wushuang always had been. "Sister Wushuang, here's your cultivation room." Hua Wuyu helped Feng Wu inside and tried to run away. However, Feng Wu frowned a little. "Go get me some spirit stones." Nua Vuyu 100 ko at Rung Wu. Disker Wasnuang, Ui Reciani only one no has the key to the treasure room. Didn't you say last time that Grandma gave you the key? Feng Wu was greatly surprised. Hua Wushuang must be so important to these people. She even had the key to the treasure room. Luckily, Feng Wu was a meticulous person. When she caught Hua Wushuang earlier, she took everything off her body, including the dragon phoenix bracelets. Of course, she had the key that Hua Wuyu was talking about. Feng Wu took out her key and tossed it to Hua Wuyu. "Be quick about it." Yes, Hua Wuyu didn't dare to delay. Holding the key with both hands, she turned around and headed for the door. Feng Wu walked out of the training room after Hua Wuyu was a few hundred meters away. Feng Wu had no idea where the room was, nor did she know how to open it. Hence, she decided to follow Hua Wuyu. As expected, when Hua Wuyu opened the door to the treasure room, she sensed a shadow next to her. Turning around, she saw that it was her sister. "Sister Wushuang, why are you here? Aren't you badly injured?" Feng Wu glanced at her in an arrogant manner. "Do you know what's suitable for my recovery?" Hua Wuyu said, "Well, blood-clotting pills, top-grade spiritual stones, or blood source crystals." The name popped into Feng Wu's head, and her stomach lurched. Feng Wu had quite a few spirit stones, be they low-grade, medium-grade, or top-grade. Chapter 35-24. Chapter 35-24. Blood Source Crystal 2. Chapter 35-24. Blood Source Crystal 2. Feng Wu had all kinds of spirit stones and all types of pills, but she didn't have any blood source crystals. Feng Wu had heard about blood source crystals before and knew that they could greatly benefit one's cultivation. However, the blood source crystal mine was very rare, and only one or two would show up every now and then in the central and western region where Flower Valley was. As soon as they appeared, they would be bought off. Hence, blood source crystals weren't available on the market. Feng Wu didn't have any either. Feng Wu's eyes lit up when she heard that. Could there be blood source crystals in the valley? If that was the case, she would be able to recover very quickly. Not only that, but she had also made great progress. Feng Wu had asked Feng Sun to gather a lot of ingredients from the royal vault and was going to refine the pill. If she could find some blood source crystals now. Feng Wu's eyes lit up at that thought. But she only glanced at Hua Wuyu. "I see that you really don't know." After that, Feng Wu entered the treasure room first. Hua Wuyu didn't know whether to go in or not. Feng Wu wasn't familiar with this place, and she needed Hua Wuyu's cover. Hence, she said indifferently, "Come with me." Hua Wuyu couldn't ask for more. Feng Wu walked in to find an old steward waiting for her. The old steward had a hunched back and a stern look on his face. The wrinkles on his face looked like they had been sculpted. "Miss Wushuang." He greeted Feng Wu, but acted as if he didn't see Hua Wuyu. Instead, Hua Wuyu greeted him. "Steward Zhao, my sister is injured, and I'm here to fetch something." Seeing Feng Wu, Steward Zhao frowned a little. Miss Wu Shuang, why are you injured? Is it serious? What do you need? Do you have a note from the accounting office? Does it have your grandmother's seal? It turned out that to get an object from the room, the accounting office had to write a note first before the old lady stamped it. Only then could one have permission. Ahem. Hua Wushuang seemed to be badly injured and glanced at Hua Wuyu. Hua Wuyu straightened her back. Steward Zhao, Sister Wushuang has the key to the room, and Grandma has given her full authority over it. Please don't make fun of us. My sister doesn't need Grandma's seal. Other people go to my sister for her seal when they need something from the treasure room. Steward Zhao smiled. Almost forgot. Miss Wuyu, please forgive me. Feng Wu let out a breath of relief. Luckily, Hua Wuyu had come with Feng Wu today. Feng Wu didn't know about all the petty rules of the Hua family. Steward Zhao would have seen through her plan if she didn't give the right answer. As a matter of fact, she wondered if Steward Zhao had seen through his plan. Why did he try to mislead her? Feng Wu was suspicious, but she didn't let it show. Steward Zhao asked Feng Wu, Miss Wu Shuang, what do you need? Feng Wu asked, what do you think I should get? Steward Zhao said, I have something nice to recommend to you. Please follow me. Feng Wu's stomach lurched, and she said indifferently, all right. Steward Zhao turned to Hua Wuyu. Miss Wuyu, please leave. Hua Wuyu thought that Steward Zhao was biased toward Hua Wushuang, so she left in the end despite her reluctance. Chapter 35-25. Chapter 35-25. Blood Source Crystal 3. Chapter 35-25. Blood Source Crystal 3. Steward Zhao welcomed Feng Wu in. In the treasure room. The room was 200 m to 300 m in diameter, and there were rows of log-colored shelves in the middle. They were filled with boxes of all shapes and sizes. Around the shelves were wooden chests. The wooden chests were of the same size and were neatly arranged. Steward Zhao stayed by Feng Wu's side the whole time and said, Miss Wu Shuang, since you're injured, of course, you should have the coagulation pills and elixirs. This way, please. However, he didn't get to finish his sentence. Thump, thud. Feng Wu struck out. It had never occurred to Steward Zhao that the other party would make the first move. He had planned to ensnare before activating a mechanism to trap her. He didn't expect her to be so alarmed and strike first. Aren't you a level 4 spiritual king? Steward Zhao turned around and glared at Feng Wu. He was stabbed in the chest. The blade penetrated her chest, and blood dripped down from the tip of the sword. Who on earth are you? Where's the real Miss Wu Shuang? Steward Zhao glared at Feng Wu. He slowly walked back and leaned against the wall. However, Feng Wu dragged him away first. Do you want to sound the alarm? Steward Zhao, this was bound to happen when you became so confident in yourself. You didn't lose to me. You lost your arrogance. As a matter of fact, you've been convinced since the first time you saw me that I'm not the real Hua Wu Shuang, haven't you? Feng Wu smiled at Steward Zhao. Steward Zhao's eyes flickered. That was right. As soon as he saw Feng Wu, Steward Zhao knew that she wasn't Hua Wu Shuang. Hence, he sent Hua Wuyu away on purpose and led Feng Wu into the vault. There were alarms and secret traps in the vault, so Steward Zhao decided to lock Feng Wu up and interrogate her. However, he was too late. Despite his capability, he was severely injured by Feng Wu's concentrated attack. Feng Wu was an expert in using poison, and once she got her hands on Steward Zhao, he would have no chance to fight back. When Steward Zhao tried to set off the alarm on the wall, Feng Wu saw that it was a book. Feng Wu didn't have time to waste on Steward Zhao, so she sprinkled the truth powder on him. Soon, Steward Zhao's eyes became hazy. The first thing Miss Wu Shuang says when she comes here is always if we have anything new. She always asks for a booklet instead of coming in. That was why I knew something wasn't right when I saw you, but I wasn't very sure. So, I was going to catch you before informing Mrs. Hua. That way, I would have made a great contribution. If I told the others would get a share of the credit. But I didn't expect you to be so perceptive. You saw that I was suspicious of you. How did you know I was suspecting you? Steward Zhao stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu smiled. You avoided my eyes on purpose, fearing that I might notice something wrong. Wasn't that obvious? Steward Zhao heaved a long sigh. Miss Wu Shuang isn't as acute as you are. Where is she now? Feng Wu said indifferently. Don't worry. Her life isn't in danger for the time being, but yours is. Steward Zhao stared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu gave him a half-smile. Steward Zhao, are you still trying to set me up? Chapter 35-26. Chapter 35-26. Blood Source Crystal 4. Chapter 35-26. Blood Source Crystal 4. Feng Wu said, Steward Zhao, instead of setting me up, why don't you think about where the rest of the blood source crystals are? Feng Wu had already walked around the room. To Feng Wu, who had visited the royal vault before, the things in the Hua family's vault weren't good enough to impress her. There were some on the shelf as well, but Feng Wu only picked out one. The blood crystal was the size of a pigeon egg, and it was giving off a dense spiritual essence. Feng Wu thought to herself, such a small stone has the amount of spiritual essence of 10,000 top-grade spiritual stones, which shows how dense the spiritual essence is in blood source crystals. Feng Wu waved the blood crystal in front of Steward Zhao. Steward Zhao shook his head. There's only one blood source crystal. Feng Wu smiled. I think I used too little truth serum just then. Steward Zhao, you're awake again. Please take some more. Feng Wu had given Steward Zhao the truth powder, which wasn't potent enough, so she used the truth serum the second time around. Feng Wu had sealed off Steward Zhao's acupoints, rendering him immobile. Moreover, he had been severely injured, so he had no choice but to let Feng Wu do whatever she wanted. Steward Zhao's face went ghastly pale after he took the potion. It was a potion specifically attacking one's mind. After being drugged twice in a row, Steward Zhao was in a trance-like state, and he was drooling again. He couldn't control himself anymore. Feng Wu crouched down in front of him and smiled. Go ahead. Do you have any more blood source crystals in this vault? Steward Zhao didn't say anything, but he pointed at the ground a short distance away. The floor was smooth and spotless without any markings. It looked so ordinary that no one would notice anything unusual about it. Feng Wu went up to that spot and tapped the ground with her fingers. It was indeed hollow. That was to say, there really was something beneath. Now that she knew what was down there, the trap wouldn't be able to stop her anymore. She was an expert in this field. Feng Wu deactivated the mechanism in less than a minute. A platform of about 1 square meter slowly rose. There was a black brocade box on the platform. The brocade box was locked with inscriptions. Feng Wu looked over her shoulder at Steward Zhao, who had regained some of his senses. Seeing the black brocade box Feng Wu took out, he looked enraged. However, he smirked when he saw that Feng Wu hadn't touched the inscription lock. That's an inscription lock. Any inscription master below level 8 can't open it. If you destroy it by force, the brocade box will explode, and the explosion will alarm the people outside. There's more. The brocade box is stuck to the platform, which is made from obsidian. No metal can break it, so I'll be honest with you. Inside the brocade box are the blood source crystals, and a lot of them. It's specially prepared for Miss Wu Shuang, so that she can break through to the spiritual overlord stage. And you'll never get it. Steward Zhao stared at Feng Wu with a malicious look in his eyes. You only have 2 options now. One is to leave now, and the other is to blow up the box. Just then, something strange happened. He saw Feng Wu take a strange pen out of her chest pocket and began to draw on the inscription lock. Chapter 35-27. Chapter 35-27. Successful Breakthrough 1. Chapter 35-27. Successful Breakthrough 1. The steward gave Feng Wu a strange look, wondering what she was up to. In any case, the inscription lock on the black wooden box couldn't be opened unless one was a level 8 inscription master or above, and Steward Zhao would never believe that Feng Wu was such a master. However, there was a soft click. This sound seemed to be specially made to mock Steward Zhao. Feng Wu had unlocked the inscription lock, which he had thought she would never open. The steward watched as Feng Wu took out 5 blood source crystals from the box. Feng Wu frowned. Why are there only 5? Steward Zhao was speechless. Isn't 5 enough? Don't you know how valuable blood source crystals are? Do you know how many there are in the entire Hua clan? Only 5. Feng Wu said, that's indeed not much. What can I find more? Steward Zhao was so infuriated by Feng Wu that he was almost out of breath. Feng Wu said, this is only one of your treasure rooms, right? Where are the others? Steward Zhao said. The steward stopped breathing from his anger. Although he was already seriously injured, he died from anger in the end. Feng Wu looked at him in resignation, trying to figure out what to do with the dead body. Seeing the rows of wooden boxes, Feng Wu grabbed the innermost one. It still had an inscription lock. However, this lock didn't need a level 8 inscription master. A level 7 one could open it. Feng Wu unlocked the box, only to find that it was filled with powdered explosives. There were barrels of them. Each barrel weighed 5 kilos, and there were 10 barrels in a box. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. She opened a sealed barrel and felt the powder with her fingers. She realized that it was of superior quality. If explosive powder of this level was powerful enough, it could injure a junior spiritual overlord. How could Feng Wu let go of such good stuff? Hence, she emptied the barrels of explosives and stuffed them all into her storage bag before throwing Steward Zhao into the box. After sealing the wooden box with an inscription lock, Feng Wu looked around. There was an entire row of boxes by the side. Could these boxes be? Feng Wu's eyes lit up. The Hua family was already very cautious. Every box was carefully sealed with an inscription lock, but Feng Wu was a great inscription master. Soon, she opened all the boxes, which were all filled with powder explosives. Needless to say, she would take them all. She emptied all the boxes. It was impossible to tell how long the Hua family had been accumulating the powder in the box, or what they had prepared for it. However, Feng Wu had taken all of it. As for the wooden boxes on the shelf, Feng Wu would be staying with the Hua family for a few days, so she wouldn't touch them for the time being. After that, Feng Wu walked out of the room. As for Steward Zhao, Feng Wu had made up a good excuse for his disappearance. That night, someone barged into the Hua family's house at night. When they passed by the treasure room, they were discovered by Steward Zhao, who then rushed out. From then on, no one saw Steward Zhao again. That was a story for another day. As for Feng Wu, she went back to her room and started refining the blood source crystals. The blood source crystals would only be effective when she absorbed the energy in them. Chapter 35:28. Chapter 35:28. Successful Breakthrough 2. Chapter 35:28. Successful Breakthrough 2. Feng Wu cultivated in the cultivation room. Soon, she succeeded in her breakthrough. Feng Wu had fallen from a peak level 6 spiritual king to a level 4-1 after saving Bao Air. Now that she had the blood source crystals, she continued to improve. With the help of the blood source crystals, Feng Wu became a level 7 spiritual king. Seeing that it was already late at night, Feng Wu went out and pretended to be Steward Zhao, then ran back to the cultivation room. She had to find a reason for Steward Zhao to go missing and shift the blame to another family. This was Feng Wu's plan, and she wouldn't use it until her plan was fully implemented. If Steward Zhao knew that Feng Wu was going to use him as a pawn after he died, he probably would jump out of the box in anger. Feng Wu hadn't sat down for long when someone kicked the door open. She looked up and saw 2 girls outside. The girl walking in front was dressed in a purple dress. She looked very arrogant, and there was a trace of resentment in her eyes. Behind her was Hua Wuyu, whom Feng Wu had met earlier. Sister Wu Shuang, I brought Sister Wuji. Please be nice to each other. Don't quarrel. With that, Hua Wuyu ran off like a little rabbit, leaving Feng Wu and Hua Wuji alone in the room. Hua Wuji was just as pretty as Hua Wushuang, but there was an obvious scar on her cheek. It was very obvious and made her look ferocious and terrifying. Hua Wuji stared at Hua Wushuang. "Did you want to talk to me?" Feng Wu smiled. "Yes." One could tell that Hua Wuji was very unfriendly toward Hua Wushuang to the point of being hostile. She sat down on the chair and glanced at Hua Wushuang arrogantly. "I want to hear what our most promising Mississippi Wushuang has to say." Feng Wu chose Hua Wuji because she wanted to start internal strife in the Hua family. She played Hua Wushuang's part so that everyone would hate her. Hence, Feng Wu glanced at Hua Wuji and spoke in an even more arrogant tone than Hua Wuji. "Wuji, how dare you talk to me like that?" Feng Wu raised her eyebrows and looked down at Hua Wuji. Hua Wuji was furious. "Hua Wushuang, is this how you talk to me?" Hua Wuji stood up instantly and glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu liked how things were going. She was secretly delighted, but she didn't show it on her face. Instead, she smirked. "What? I'm going to marry the crown prince and become the crown prince's wife. Tell me, how should I speak to you?" Hua Wuji's expression became even uglier, and she threatened Feng Wu. "Wushuang, you're really smug." Feng Wu smiled. "Aren't you going to give me your blessing?" Hua Wuji said, "Of course, I'll give you my blessings, my dear sister." With that, Hua Wuji slammed the door and left. "You're so mean. You deliberately try to piss her off." After Hua Wuji stormed out, Little Phoenix stuck its head out of Feng Wu's space and said curiously. Feng Wu said, "She won't take action unless I piss her off." Little Phoenix urged Feng Wu, "What are you trying to do now? Tell me now. I can tell that someone is going to be in trouble." Chapter 35-29. Chapter 35-29. Successful Breakthrough 3. Chapter 35-29. Successful Breakthrough 3. Feng Wu said, "I have a plan. If the Hua family doesn't fall into chaos, I'll become your pupil." Little Phoenix said, "There are so many people after you. Why are you attacking the Hua family first?" Feng Wu only smiled. "The Hua family isn't the only one I'm going to attack this time. Not just the Hua family. Who else?" Little Phoenix scratched its head, confused. Also, it didn't understand why Feng Wu had provoked Hua Wuji on purpose. Feng Wu said, "Send Chaoga a message for me and tell her." Curious, Little Phoenix did whatever Feng Wu told it to do. After it returned, Little Phoenix couldn't help but ask Feng Wu, "When will the answer be revealed?" Feng Wu said, "Tomorrow." Little Phoenix said, "It's that old witch's birthday tomorrow. Many people will come." Feng Wu said, "I'm counting on it. The more onlookers, the better. After all, it's Hua Wushuang's big day." Little Phoenix said, "Why don't you look happy?" Feng Wu mumbled to herself, "Do you think Jun Linyuan will blame me for making this decision for him?" Feng Wu mumbled to herself, "Do you think Jun Linyuan will blame me for making this decision for him?" Little Phoenix asked, "What?" Feng Wu said, "If Hua Wushuang doesn't become his fiancée, do you think he'll blame me?" Little Phoenix poked Feng Wu in the forehead. "Are you stupid? It's so obvious that he likes you. Can't you tell?" Feng Wu's depressed face lit up. "Really?" Little Phoenix glanced at Feng Wu and suddenly said, "Before your master wakes up, you'd better not." Seeing that Little Phoenix had stopped mid-sentence, Feng Wu frowned. "I better not what?" Little Phoenix said, "You'd better not fall in love with anyone else." Feng Wu said, "What do you mean? Who would I fall in love with? Jun Linyuan? That's impossible." Little Phoenix looked at Feng Wu as if she was a retard. "It's over. Although she says that she doesn't like him, she's probably already." Little Phoenix said, "If you get too close to Jun Linyuan, he'll definitely notice your master. When that happens, you have to know that master was once the master of the continent. Who wouldn't want his legacy? Jun Linyuan will be a threat to master." It was obvious that Little Phoenix didn't want Feng Wu to be with Jun Linyuan. Feng Wu said stubbornly, "Of course, I know that. That's why I won't be with Jun Linyuan. Don't worry. Don't you believe me?" Little Phoenix murmured something. Feng Wu asked, "What did you say?" Little Phoenix said, "Nothing. Just remember what you said today. As for the 12 trials of love, you should complete them, but don't fall in love for real." Feng Wu poked it in the head impatiently. "I know. You're so nosy." Why did Little Phoenix's serious warning make her feel so uncomfortable? Feng Wu ignored the discomfort and focused on the matter at hand. Little Phoenix knew it wasn't a good idea to push Feng Wu too hard, so it dashed off. "I'll see if your plan is working." Little Phoenix was as fast as lightning. It had recently learned how to be invisible, so no one could find it or do anything to it in the Hua clan. Little Phoenix saw that Hua Wuji was fuming in her room. At that moment, her best friend, Duguyamo of the Dugu family, came to see her. Chapter 3530. Chapter 3530. Successful Breakthrough 4. Chapter 3530. Successful Breakthrough 4. What? Can my face really be treated? Hua Wuji grabbed Duguyamo. "Are you serious? You're not lying to me, are you?" "Yamo, do you know how many times I've had hope over the years, but in the end, I've always been disappointed." Hua Wuji burst into tears. "Do you know who hurt my face? It was Hua Wushuang. I've asked around. It was her. Back then, I was prettier and more talented than her. She secretly attacked me and injured my face. From then on, my importance in the family plummeted. Hua Wushuang, who was originally inferior to me, had my grandma's favor." Duguyamo was confused. "Wait, why is your appearance related to your cultivation?" Hua Wuji said, "My family is an exception. We're raised to be the crown prince's future wife, so appearance is the most important thing." Duguyamo said, "What? Your family?" Hua Wuji said, "That's right. That's how we raised our daughters in the first place. Even if Feng Wu hadn't been framed by the Zhou family, our grandma would have killed her in the end. In fact, she's already a dead woman now." Duguyamo said, "But how can your grandmother be so sure that one of you will marry the crown prince?" Duguyamo was a little scared at the thought of how she used to have a crush on the crown prince. Hua Wuji said, "Our grandma has her own ways of bewitching the Empress Dowager. Don't worry. The Empress Dowager is a fool. She's been played by our grandma. Grandma can lie to her however she wants, but the Empress Dowager still trusts her." Duguyamo said, "That was a bold thing to say." Hua Wuji said, "I only dare to say this in front of you. Do you think I dare to mention it in front of others? By the way, you mentioned cream just now. Do you really have it?" Duguyamo said, "I do have it. I bought it from someone. It'll regain your looks after you use it." Duguyamo then took out a small white jade box. Inside was a cream that was as clear as snow and had a faint fragrance. "It'll be effective shortly after you put it on." Duguyamo looked at Hua Wuji. "I spent a lot of money to buy it. I've kept it for myself. If it doesn't work on you, I can't do anything about it." Hua Wuji, "This is a supreme level cream, isn't it?" Duguyamo nodded. "Of course." Hua Wuji said, "You know supreme level medicine refiner?" Duguyamo thought to herself, "What about it? That person is actually a semi-divine medicine refiner, but a supreme level cream is less obvious." However, she didn't say anything in the end. She only said to Hua Wuji, "The person I know works for that medicine refiner. I didn't just buy the cream. Look, there are other medicinal powders and potions." Duguyamo took out a small box from her pocket and showed it to Hua Wuji. "This is a sleeping potion. This is a fragrance elixir. Here's a breakthrough pill, and this is a illusory fragrance pill. After using it, it's as if you're ascending. You'll feel like you're floating." At this moment, Hua Wuji had already applied the cream to her face and was waiting for the medicine to take effect. She said, "Actually, Hua Wushuang is already a semi-supreme level medicine refiner. She only knows how to deal with me with her medicine. When my face recovers, I'll definitely teach her a lesson." Chapter 3531. Chapter 3531. What does she want? Chapter 3531. What does she want? After applying the cream, Hua Wuji washed it away in less than 4 hours. When she saw her face in the bronze mirror, her eyes immediately lit up. The dark red scar had become much lighter. She grabbed Dugayamo excitedly. "Oh my God, it worked! It's real!" Dugayamo was happy for her as well. She smiled and said, "It would be great if it could cure you, but..." Hua Wuji said, "But what?" Dugayamo smiled bitterly. "But your family is in a complicated situation. What if your sister hates me?" Hua Wuji frowned. "If she knows that you helped me, she'll definitely hate you. You don't have to doubt that. She was the one who injured me back then and eliminated me from the competition. Only then could she be trained as the only successor of the Hua family." Dugayamo was taken aback. Then Hua Wuji patted her shoulder. "Don't worry, why would I sell you out? I'm still counting on you to continue supplying me with medicine in the future." "Oh right, which medicine refiner is it?" Dugayamo said. "I'll tell you later, okay?" Hua Wuji also knew that her feud with Hua Wushuang had frightened Dugu Yamo. She had no choice but to nod. "All right, let's do it in the future." After saying that, she smiled mysteriously. "Perhaps the next time you see me, you won't have to be so respectful to Hua Wushuang." Dugayamo said, "She's the future crown prince's consort. How can we not respect her?" Hua Wuji sneered in disdain. "Future crown prince's consort? Just because she said so? Who gave her the right?" Dugayamo knew that if she continued to listen, she would find out too much. If she knew too much, she would die. Therefore, Dugayamo said goodbye. Hua Wuji had something important to do, so she bid Dugayamo farewell. What Hua Wuji didn't know was that a small bird had watched the entire process. It had recently learned the invisibility skill, so unless someone was much stronger than it, no one would discover its existence. Little Phoenix went out with Dugayamo, then ran back to talk to Fengwu. "You're right. Hua Wuji is really a piece of work." Little Phoenix told Fengwu everything it had seen and heard. In the end, it glanced at Fengwu. It seems that the wound on her face is Hua Wuji's biggest weakness. Now that it's about to be erased, what do you think Hua Wuji will do? I'm so looking forward to it. Little Phoenix was born with the blood of a divine beast and didn't need to cultivate hard at all. It only needed to fill its mouth with something with spiritual essence, then lie down and sleep. When it woke up, its cultivation level had increased. What an easy life. That was why Little Phoenix loved gossip when it was bored. It chattered and was very curious. Fengwu was busy cultivating, so she sent Little Phoenix away. "If you follow Hua Wuji, you'll know what she's up to." Little Phoenix asked, "What do you think she'll do?" Fengwu smiled mysteriously. "She's going to take Hua Wushuang's place, of course. Apart from that, what else can she do?" Little Phoenix rubbed its chin. "She's a bit far away from Hua Wushuang in her cultivation, isn't she? I don't think she has the guts to do that yet. If I were her, I would have laid low for a while. But I'll see for myself." Chapter 35-32. Chapter 35-32. Father, Mother. Chapter 35-32. Father, Mother. Filled with curiosity, Little Phoenix went out again. It flew around Hua Manor and listened to the gossip because it was invisible. Little Phoenix soon saw Hua Wuji. Hua Wuji was heading to a side courtyard. "Father, Mother." Hua Wuji threw herself excitedly into her father and mother's arms. Her father was Hua Wuyin, the second son of Mrs. Hua. He looked at Hua Wuji in confusion. Ever since that incident, this girl had always been cynical and distant from her parents. Why was she? "Honey, why are you?" her mother asked. "Mother, look." Hua Wuji had deliberately covered her face along the way. Now that she had taken off the veil, her mother saw that the red scar on her face had mostly healed, leaving only a faint line. Her mother was shocked. "Jier, what's going on?" Hua Wuji repeated what she had said to Dugayamo and said, "Father, Mother, it was Hua Wushuang who set me up back then. That's why I was disfigured. After that, grandmother removed me from the candidate list. It was all Hua Wushuang's fault. I was disfigured, but what about Hua Wushuang? She has the best cultivation resources." The old lady personally guided her, and she might even become the crown princess consort in the future. I can't stand it. So what do you want to do? Hua Wuyin stared at his daughter. Hua Wuji's face was cold and solemn. I'm just taking back what originally belonged to me. Her mother had been stroking her wound with a trembling hand. When she heard this, she stared at Hua Wuji. What do you mean? Hua Wuji gritted her teeth and said, Father, mother, didn't you notice? Ever since Hua Wushuang was chosen as the successor, the first branch has been designated to inherit the family. All the power, resources, and connections are flowing in that direction. Father, mother, don't you feel that you've been neglected by your clansmen all these years? Hua Wuyin and his wife naturally felt it, but they had already accepted this matter over the years. Now, their daughter suddenly told them that there was actually another path. Hua Wuji sneered. Father, mother, now that I have the medicine to treat my face, if Hua Wushuang finds out about this, what do you think she'll do? She'll definitely kill me. So now it's either her or me. If we win, our branch will soar into the sky and take over everything the first branch has. What if T lose? Na W. Ivan stared at his daughter. Hua Wuji sneered. If we lose, father, you're the old lady's son, and my mother is her niece. I'm her granddaughter. Can she kill us? Moreover, Hua Wushuang did let me down back then. I still have evidence here. Previously, because I couldn't treat the wound on my face, I've been enduring it. Now that I can take her down, why should I take it anymore? But the crown prince, her mother was in awe of Jun Linyuan after all. Hua Wuji sneered. What does the crown prince consort's position have to do with Hua Wushuang? All of this was done by my grandmother. Without Hua Wushuang, can't we have a marriage alliance with the royal family? Chapter 35-33. Chapter 35-33. Level 8 Spiritual King. Chapter 35-33. Level 8 Spiritual King. Father, mother, this path ahead of you is very likely to make you become the crown prince's parents-in-law. Hua Wuji was trembling with excitement. It had been her dream since she was little to become the crown prince's wife. We'll have to think about it carefully before making a decision, said Hua Wuyin. His wife nodded and said to Hua Wuji, it'll take a while to make a decision like this. Be patient. But Hua Wuji didn't think so. After tomorrow, Her Majesty the Empress Dowager will announce that Hua Wushuang is going to be the crown prince's wife. I have to get rid of her before that happens. Hua Wuji told them her plan. One had to admit that it was vicious but effective. It was very likely that she had been trying to set Hua Wushuang up for so many years that even Hua Wuyin couldn't find any loopholes in her plan. Hua Wuyin was shocked. That's too bold, Hua Wuji said. I don't care if you're going to do it or not. I'll kill myself if you try to stop me. She ran off after that. The door closed with a bang. This time, little Phoenix didn't go after them. Instead, it looked curiously at her parents and wondered what they would do. Master, what should we do now? Madame Hua asked nervously. Apart from following the girl's plan, do you think there's another way? He had already made up his mind. He agreed almost as soon as Hua Wuji told him her plan. Or rather, even if Hua Wuji wouldn't do it, he would. Because Hua Wuji was right. Back then, he and his brother were evenly matched. However, ever since Hua Wushuang was chosen, the old lady had been biased toward his brother, and all her connections had gone to the first branch of the family. Hua Wuyin was even more awarded for the different treatment than Hua Wuji. Of course, he wouldn't live with it. Madame Hua smiled bitterly. Whatever you say, my lord. The second branch of the Hua family reached an agreement. Little Phoenix was amazed. Feng Wu was such a great strategist. All she needed was some information from Hua Wushuang, and she was able to make such an elaborate plan out of it that the second branch of the Hua family willingly jumped into that trap. Becoming Feng Wu's enemy was the worst choice one could ever make. Master, do you know how smart and cunning your little pupil is now? She was like a fairy back then. She's different now. Little Phoenix went back to the room to find Feng Wu cultivating. It then lay down by Feng Wu's feet and studied her closely. when Feng Wu opened her eyes. "You're a level 8 spiritual king." Little Phoenix stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. "Is this a blessed place for you? You were a level 6 spiritual king when you came in yesterday, but you're a level 8-1 now." Little Phoenix was almost in tears. It had already cultivated once back then, which was why it could make a breakthrough every time it took a nap. However, Feng Wu had started from scratch. Was she even human? Hua Wushuang actually wanted to compete with you. She's still a level 4 spiritual king, but you're a level 8-1. What could she possibly do? Chapter 35-34. Chapter 35-34. Mica Energy 4. Chapter 35-34. Mica Energy 4. Forget about Hua Wushuang. What about Zhuo Qingxi? Little Phoenix was speechless. Wasn't Zhuo Qingxi so arrogant before? He looked like he was going to avenge that brat from Duke Li's family. But he was only a level 7 spiritual king. "Can you please give these teenagers a way out?" said Little Phoenix. "Feng," Wu asked in resignation. "Can I take that as a compliment?" Little Phoenix said, "Do you think I want to compliment you? But you're so..." Little Phoenix took a jade stone out. Glancing at it, the bird said to Feng Wu, "Your master's plan for you was to become a spiritual overlord at the age of 15. I told him that he was dreaming. Are you really going to prove me wrong?" Feng Wu was surprised. "My beautiful master has such a plan? Show me." "No." Little Phoenix swallowed the jade stone. "It's a secret. I can't let you see." Feng Wu looked at it in grievance. Little Phoenix relented right away. It gave Feng Wu an apologetic look, but still insisted. "I can't let you see it. How am I going to train you if I do?" Feng Wu asked. "Have I met all the criteria for my cultivation?" Tilting its head, Little Phoenix gave it some thought before giving Feng Wu a regretful look. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. "I haven't," Little Phoenix said. "You've exceeded the requirement for everything else except for one." Feng Wu asked, "Which one?" She would never let her beautiful master down. She had to perfect everything. She was her beautiful master's pride. Little Phoenix said, "Your weapon won't do." Feng Wu said, "The fallen star sword is great." Little Phoenix said, "No, it's not. You've been making progress in your cultivation, but your fallen star sword has stayed where it is. How can that be good? Do you know that the fallen star sword is a legendary sword at its highest level? With your current capability, the fallen star sword can level up a few more times. A level 5 sacred weapon is the right level. It's not just that. More importantly, the fallen star sword has no spiritual power." Feng Wu asked, "Do you mean a sword spirit?" Little Phoenix said, "The so-called sword spirit only exists when it becomes a legendary sword. By no spiritual power, I mean that the fallen star sword hasn't been tempered by chaotic energy. Have you heard of chaotic energy?" Recalling a random book she had read before, Feng Wu asked in bewilderment, "Is that the mica energy when the world was created?" Little Phoenix nodded. Feng Wu frowned. "But that energy is nowhere to be found. I haven't seen it anywhere in years." "It does exist," Little Phoenix said earnestly. "I sensed it in the manor." Feng Wu asked, "Here? Where?" Feng Wu realized the problem with the fallen star sword as well. She had been making rapid breakthroughs, but her fallen star sword had never made any progress. The original sword play couldn't keep up with her progress, which was the biggest problem. She was worried that if this went on, she would have to find a new sword, and the fallen star sword would have to be abandoned. "I sensed something when I ran around the manor earlier. Let's go have a look." Little Phoenix became serious as well. After all, if other people knew about the mica energy, they would go berserk, because a weapon refined from the energy would. Chapter 35-35. Chapter 35-35. Secret Path. Chapter 35-35. Secret Path. This was because a weapon refined with mica energy would have its power amplified. Feng Wu rushed out with Little Phoenix without another word. Because Feng Wu was disguised as Hua Wushuang, and Little Phoenix was invisible. They had no problem running around in the manor. It was deep into the night. The moon was covered by thick clouds, and visibility was very low. Led by Little Phoenix, Feng Wu walked further and further away until she reached a flower bed. Just like their surname suggested, the Hua clan was full of flowers. Flowers of all seasons were blooming at the same time. Little Phoenix led Feng Wu to a low slope where red crab apples were swaying in the wind. Little Phoenix stopped right there. Feng Wu looked at it in bewilderment. Little Phoenix sniffed around and told Feng Wu in the end, "It's around here. My nose can't be wrong." Looking around, Feng Wu saw that there was no one there, and the crab apples were completely different from the ones outside. They were so red that they looked like blood. Feng Wu took out a bamboo stick. She tapped the ground, and soon, Feng Wu sensed something different. The soil here is softer than in other places. It must have moved around a lot before returning to its original state. However, the inside is completely different. Feng Wu pointed at a slope and told Little Phoenix. She searched for the mechanism as she spoke. "I knew it." Feng Wu looked closely at the place where the crab apple was planted and smiled a little. "There's something special about the location of these flowers. I wouldn't have been able to detect the mechanism 6 months ago. It's so well hidden. I think the Hua clan has a very capable formation master." Naturally, these major clans had accumulated a lot of talent over the years. After some careful calculation, Feng Wu finally stomped on the ground about Lakma Way. Thud! There's a crisp sound. Crack! As expected, the crabapple bushes parted, and a narrow door wide enough for one person to walk through slowly opened. Feng Wu looked at the door and said to Little Phoenix, "Why do I feel that this is the exit?" Little Phoenix nodded. "I think you're right." Feng Wu said, "I don't know how long it'll take to get to the entrance. Let's just go this way." Feng Wu and Little Phoenix entered the narrow tunnel together. Maybe it was because of the ventilation system. Feng Wu didn't find the place smelly. But it was pitch dark. To be on the safe side, Feng Wu didn't light up the candlesticks. She had a luminous pearl in her hand, which shone mildly in the dark. Feng Wu walked for about 15 minutes before she noticed the light ahead of her. "I feel it. It's the energy of mica." Little Phoenix was thrilled. Not only would it be very beneficial to the refinery, but it would also help Little Phoenix greatly, for its body could be considered a weapon as well. "Shoo!" Feng Wu stopped and gestured at the bird to keep its voice down. "Quiet. There's a high chance that a capable cultivator will preside over this place." Little Phoenix nodded. "I can already sense the presence of a master." Chapter 35-36. Chapter 35-36. Master. Chapter 35-36. Master. When Little Phoenix said that it could sense powerful cultivators, Feng Wu sensed it as well. It was the intimidating energy of a capable cultivator. The aura seemed to be everywhere. Very powerful. Feng Wu took a deep breath. If I'm guessing right, he's at least a spiritual overlord. Little Phoenix nodded. Should they back out? Little Phoenix looked at Feng Wu in silence. It would be dangerous to go in there again. However, before they could make a decision, they heard a faint noise behind them. The lights on the walls lit up one by one. Feng Wu and Little Phoenix exchanged looks, and both saw astonishment in each other's eyes. In front of them were the capable cultivators above the spiritual overlord stage, and someone was coming their way. Right now, they were in grave danger. "Let's go." Feng Wu made a prompt decision and dashed off, dragging Little Phoenix with her. They kept their footsteps as low as possible as they ran. Feng Wu was practically floating on the ground, and Little Phoenix didn't even dare to flap its wings. "I can include you in my invisibility spell, but," after some hesitation, Little Phoenix told Feng Wu, "but to cover you, we'll need a lot of shadows." Little Phoenix was a tiny bird, and it could cover its entire body with its mental power. However, Feng Wu was so much bigger than the bird, and if she was included, Feng Wu lowered her voice. "Use it when it's critical." However, the critical moment had arrived. A secluded courtyard had appeared in front of the cave, and two people sat opposite each other. Feng Wu couldn't see clearly in the moonlight, but she could tell right away that they were two formidable cultivators that made her hold her breath. One of them was Mrs. Hua. Feng Wu had met Mrs. Hua before. When she treated Bao Air, Mrs. Hua sat next to the Empress Dowager. Back then, Mrs. Hua was supposed to be a wise old lady, but now she was indeed a capable cultivator. An old man sat across the table. The old man was as old as a skeleton and had a scar on his face. It was a ghastly sight in the moonlight. Feng Wu was almost out of the cave when she saw the two people look in her direction. At that critical moment, Little Phoenix had covered Feng Wu with its invisibility spell. Feng Wu stuck her back to the wall and didn't dare to move. "Who's there?" Mrs. Hua bellowed. Just then, a figure flitted past Feng Wu, bringing with it a gust of wind. The lower hem of Feng Wu's dress flapped in the wind, almost touching the person. Luckily, it didn't touch. Feng Wu minimized her vitality and heartbeat. She looked like a vegetable. As expected, Mrs. Hua paid no attention to Feng Wu after the person ran past them. Feng Wu rejoiced. Luckily, Little Phoenix had turned invisible. Otherwise, they would have disappeared from this world. "Let's go," Feng Wu told Little Phoenix in her head. Feng Wu was going to take Little Phoenix away when Mrs. Hua wasn't looking. However, she heard a voice at that moment. "We must kill that girl from the Feng family this time." "What?" Feng Wu felt a chill run down her spine. She recognized the voice. It was Mrs. Hua. Mrs. Hua wanted to kill her. Hearing that someone was trying to kill her, Chapter 35-37. Chapter 35-37. Someone wanted to kill her. Chapter 35-37. Someone wanted to kill her. Hearing that someone wanted to kill her, no one would leave now, and Feng Wu was no exception. Feng Wu didn't dare to watch, for she would be spotted very easily. She only pricked up her ears. Mrs. Hua was giving instructions to the person that had run past her. Feng Wu finally saw the person out of the corner of her eye. It was a middle-aged woman. She was Hua Wushuang's maid, and Feng Wu remembered that she was called Aunt Shi. Mrs. Hua asked her about Hua Wushuang first. Aunt Shi told her that Hua Wushuang had lost to Feng Wu and was cultivating. Mrs. Hua frowned and said to Aunt Shi, "Everyone wants to kill Feng Wu now, including the Zhou family." Mrs. Hua glanced at the old man as she spoke. Feng Wu had been observing the old man from the corner of her eye the whole time. She noticed that the old man had listened to Mrs. Hua and was sipping his wine. He smiled when he heard that the Zhou family was going to kill Feng Wu as well. The Zhou family. Feng Wu was convinced right away that the old man was a member of the Zhou family and a very prominent one. He could sit opposite Mrs. Hua. If Mrs. Hua was the head of the Hua clan, could the old man be Zhou Qingwan's grandfather? The old master of the Zhou family that Jun Linyuan had injured earlier? "You're too excited," Little Phoenix reminded Feng Wu. "Yes," Feng Wu replied to Little Phoenix in her head, but she shifted a little. "What are you doing?" Little Phoenix was shocked. "Why are you still moving? Aren't you afraid of being discovered?" Feng Wu said, "We have to. We'll be spotted if we stay here for too long. We need to find a place to hide." Feng Wu spotted a cluster of crab apples a short distance away. Hence, she snuck into the thick growth of flowers and covered herself with them. Little Phoenix was so frightened that it didn't dare to move or breathe. Luckily, the powerful cultivators weren't paying attention to them. Feng Wu pricked up her ears and listened to Mrs. Hua. She was furious when she heard that the Zhou and Hua families would each send out 15 spiritual overlords to kill her. Both Mrs. Hua and the old master of the Zhou family thought too highly of her. She was only a spiritual king. She was openly known as a level 4 spiritual king, although she had just become a level 8 spiritual king. But that was it. Why were they sending 30 spiritual overlords after her? Did they want to destroy her entire clan? Just then, Old Masters was said grimly, The Feng clan is no longer needed in this world. Mrs. Hua frowned and turned to look at him. Do you want to destroy the Feng clan? Old Masters was said coldly. If we don't get rid of the roots, the grass will grow again. Back then, the Zhua family thought too highly of ourselves and only listened to Zhua Qinghuan's suggestions. We only destroyed Feng Wu's true phoenix blood, which was worth more than being killed. But it turns out that the Chosen One is indeed unique. She has risen in the way of the divine phoenix blood. I can't believe it. Zhua Chengfeng put down his teacup. Old Master Zhua was half hidden in his cape, and he was all skin and bones. He looked like a ghost when he removed his cape. He smirked all of a sudden. Chapter 35-38. Chapter 35-38. Destroy the Feng clan. Chapter 35-38. Destroy the Feng clan. I can live with it if she rises because of the divine phoenix blood, but she found another way and became close to Junlin Yuan. Old Master was stared at Mrs. Hua with a grim look on his face. Feng Wu didn't dare to look into Old Master's eyes, but she heard everything he said. Not only was Old Masters going to kill her, but he was also going to destroy the entire Feng clan. The other members of the Feng clan hadn't done anything, and they were all innocent. How could these people destroy the entire clan just to kill her? Feng Wu recalled all the members of the Feng clan. The beautiful lady, Feng Xiaoqi, Qiuling Granny Zhao, the 3 elders of the Forbidden Area, and the members of the 1st and 3rd branches. There were so many lives. However, if all 30 spiritual overlords rushed in together, even with the formation, the White Fairy, and the help sent by Emperor Wu, Northern Feng Mansion, and Yu Minji, there was nothing the Feng clan could do. The entire Feng clan would duel Peckle out. Feng Wu's family had always been her taboo, and she wouldn't let anything happen to them. The Zhua family, the Hua family. Feng Wu gritted her teeth and clenched her fists so hard that her nails dug into her palms. This was the 2nd time in her life that she had been cornered. Calm down. We'll figure something out. Little Phoenix comforted Feng Wu. You're our only hope. If they beat you, no one will be able to save the Feng clan. Little Phoenix was anxious as well. Its master hadn't woken up yet, and the master's pupils were all over the continent. They were too far away to offer any help. If the bird had known, it would have told little Feng Wu that she had those helpers. But its master said that little Feng Wu had to grow on her own and couldn't help her too much. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hua was still talking to Zhua Chengfeng. What's her relationship with Junlin Yuan? Mrs. Hua asked. Zhua Chengfeng smirked. Why would a genius like Junlin Yuan be trapped by love? Mrs. Hua nodded. I'm only worried that Junlin Yuan will be displeased afterward. Zhua Chengfeng was sure that Junlin Yuan would be displeased and would take his revenge, but when that happened, he would be aiming at the Hua family, not the Zhua family. That was why Zhua Chengfeng wanted to work with Mrs. Hua to get rid of Feng Wu. Because he had been beaten up by Junlin Yuan, he knew that he couldn't kill Feng Wu himself. He had to have a scapegoat. Now that the Empress Dowager had betrothed Hua Wushuang to Junlin Yuan would only come to the Hua family afterward, thinking that they were the culprits. That was what Zhua Chengfeng had in mind. Although Mrs. Hua didn't know that Junlin Yuan had beaten up Zhua Chengfeng, she was smart and vigilant. She stared at Zhua Chengfeng and asked, Have you fought Junlin Yuan before? Who won? That smart old hag. She had been smart back then, but she was even smarter now. Zhua Chengfeng snorted inwardly, but he said matter-of-factly, Yes, we did fight, but no one won. Mrs. Hua said, That is to say, you're not as good as him. Zhua Chengfeng said, You. Mrs. Hua said, I know you well. If you say no one won, then he's definitely better than you. Zhua Chengfeng was furious. That old hag. Mrs. Hua chuckled. He's indeed good enough to be my grandson-in-law. Chapter 35-39. Chapter 35-39. Treasure Hall. Chapter 35-39, Treasure Haul. Mrs. Hua chuckled. He's indeed good enough to be my grandson-in-law. Zhou Chengfeng glanced at her, but didn't say anything. Mrs. Hua asked, when do we do it? Zhou Chengfeng asked, how about right after the birthday? Mrs. Hua nodded. Deal. Hua, you are on. I didn't know you could find the mica energy. Zhou Chengfeng stared at Mrs. Hua. Once they reached an agreement, they became much closer. Mrs. Hua smiled. Mica energy is indeed hard to find, but it's not impossible. What? After all these years, you still haven't accumulated any? Mrs. Hua took a wooden box out of her sleeve as she spoke. The wooden box was opened, and a wisp of smoke rose out. Zhou Chengfeng was infatuated. However, Mrs. Hua seemed to be baiting him. When the air rose, she waved her hand, and all the air went back into the ordinary-looking box. While Zhou Chengfeng watched enviously, Mrs. Hua said to Aunt Shi, put away this box. Aunt Shi said respectfully yes. She walked up to the box, took out a thick white felt, and carefully put it away. Put it in the treasure hall, said Mrs. Hua indifferently. Aunt Shi nodded and left the room. When she walked past the cave, she suddenly felt something and reached out to grab something in the air. It was right where Feng Wu had been. Feng Wu would have been exposed if she hadn't left that spot. Luckily, and she didn't catch anything. She left without hesitation. Feng Wu was greatly relieved. I can't hold on much longer, little Phoenix struggled to speak. Feng Wu looked into her mind and saw that the usually carefree bird was covered in sweat and was obviously exhausted. She couldn't stay here any longer. Hence, Feng Wu carefully made her way out. Feng Wu was very cautious as she followed Aunt Shi. She only dared to land her feet when Aunt Shi did and catch her breath when Aunt Shi breathed. As expected, when Feng Wu did that, the two spiritual overlords didn't notice her. Feng Wu didn't let her guard down after she entered the tunnel. There were so many capable cultivators here that she felt as if she was walking on thin ice. One wrong move, and she could lose her life. Once that strange feeling was eliminated, and she didn't think about it anymore. After all, there was no way that anyone could have been lurking around the two powerful cultivators, not to mention that Aunt Shi couldn't find them anywhere. There were two forks in the tunnel. One led to Mrs. Hua's courtyard, and the other led to the treasure hall. The two of them were only a few kilometers apart, and it only took them a few seconds to cover the distance. Aunt Shi took a key out of her chest pocket and opened the door to the treasure hall. I can't hold on much longer. Little Phoenix swayed and almost fainted. Hold on, just hang in there a little longer. We'll be in the treasure room in no time. Feng Wu comforted the cub in a low voice. And she probably realized how popular the object was. Without hesitation, she took out a strange key, put it in the keyhole, and unlocked it with a password and 3 inscriptions. Chapter 3540. Chapter 3540. Clear out. Chapter 3540. Clear out. And she opened the door to the vault in one go. What she didn't know was that Feng Wu arrived as soon as she did. Once inside, Feng Wu hid in a secluded corner. Little Phoenix couldn't hold on much longer. The invisibility spell disappeared as soon as Feng Wu hid herself. If Aunt Shi turned her head now, she would immediately spot Feng Wu. Unfortunately, Aunt Shi was too absorbed in the box to notice that someone had followed her in. Right now, Aunt Shi was carefully holding the small box as if she was holding a baby. She didn't know what button Aunt Shi pressed, but there was a click. There was a faint sound. Feng Wu looked out of the gap and saw that Aunt Shi had opened a row of bookshelves. She then took a book out of the shelf. After she opened the book, Feng Wu read it under the moonlight, only to find that it was hollow. Aunt Shi put the small box into the book, then put the thick book back on the shelf. She stepped on one of the pillars on the shelf, and there was a cracking sound. The bookshelf turned over and fit perfectly in. It looked like an ordinary white wall. Feng Wu wouldn't have noticed it if she hadn't seen Aunt Shi flipping the wall around. And she didn't leave right away after that. Instead, She took out a thin piece of cloth and began to clean the room inch by inch. Feng Wu didn't know what to say. She wanted to get Aunt Shi to leave as soon as possible, but it felt like Aunt Shi was staying here forever. It took her an hour to clean all the secret compartments. That was right. Aunt Shi had opened all the secret compartments when she wiped the shelves. If Feng Wu hadn't known that Aunt Shi was her enemy, she would have thought that Aunt Shi had opened everything on purpose so that Feng Wu would know where the good stuff was and how to open the doors. An hour later, Aunt Shi was finally done. She straightened her clothes and pushed the door open. Finally, Feng Wu let out a long breath. Aunt Shi was really something. Although she had opened all the secret compartments, she had also set up all the traps after she wiped them clean. Traps came one after another. If an unsuspecting person entered the hall, they would trigger all the alarms. Even someone as capable as Zhuo Qingfeng might not be able to avoid all of them. And she had done Feng Wu a great favor. Feng Wu opened the bookshelf on the wall first, for it contained the energy of mica. As expected, Feng Wu copied what Aunt Shi did and easily obtained the energy. As for the other treasures, recalling Mrs. Hua's plan with the old master of the Zhuo family today, Feng Wu was furious. They wanted to destroy the Feng clan. For that, she would take everything. No matter how well hidden the mechanism was, Feng Wu had found everything. Feng Wu didn't know exactly what was in the room, and she just went on taking them. She didn't leave anything for Mrs. Hua. Feng Wu went to the first treasure room she visited right after she left the treasure hall and emptied it as well. The treasure room wasn't always visited, so no one in the Hua clan knew that it had been cleared out. Chapter 35:41. Chapter 35:41. Body Forge. Chapter 35:41. Body Forge. The treasure room wasn't always visited, so no one in the Hua clan knew that it had been cleared out. Feng Wu went back to her cultivation room after collecting the mica energy and clearing out the 2 vaults. These are all great stuff, Little Phoenix said to Feng Wu in excitement. You can use a lot of the resources inside. They'll help you make another breakthrough. Feng Wu was a little concerned. Am I making breakthroughs too fast for my body to keep up? Little Phoenix said proudly. Do you have any idea what you found this time? Feng Wu asked what? Little Phoenix said, it's the Body Forge ointment, a sacred level 1. Only major clans like the Hua clan have it, and it's not circulated on the market. Feng Wu asked, the Body Forge ointment. Little Phoenix said, the Body Forge ointment can greatly improve your physical fitness in a short period of time. It can refine your muscles, tendons, and membranes. Other people may spend a lot of time on these 3 steps, but with the sacred level Body Forge ointment, you can improve much faster. Little Phoenix clicked its tongue. This Body Forge ointment alone is worth your effort tonight. Stop waiting and start cultivating. There's going to be a big battle. Feng Wu nodded. But the plot of the Hua family and the Zhuo family can't be underestimated. Go back to the Feng clan and send a message to Feng Sun and the others. After Feng Wu left, Feng Sun and Yu Minji were in charge of the Feng clan. Also, tell the White Fairy that I have a plan. Starting tomorrow, the Hua family and the Zhuo family won't have the energy to go after the Feng clan. If anything happens, ask her to guard the Feng clan for me. If she does that, I'll tell her about my 3rd senior brother. Little Phoenix nodded. I'll be right back. Little Phoenix was already very fast, and with its stealth ability, the entire Hua clan was at its mercy. After Little Phoenix left, Feng Wu took out the Body Forge ointment to refine her body. All the treasures in the vault were stored in brocade boxes, which Feng Wu put away in her storage bag. It took Feng Wu a while to find the Body Forge ointment Little Phoenix was talking about. It was a green jade jar that was half a foot tall. She opened the lid, and a pleasant smell filled her nostrils. After locking the door and windows, Feng Wu walked into the bath at the back. Hua Wuxuan's cultivation room was equipped with everything. Pink petals filled the bathtub, and tiny bubbles rose from the hot spring. However, Feng Wu didn't go into the bath. Instead, She applied the sticky body forge ointment all over her body according to the instructions Little Phoenix gave her. The process would make one's muscles stronger and fuller. After applying the body forge ointment, Feng Wu recited divine body technique in her head. It wasn't from the Hua family. Feng Wu had learned it from her beautiful master when she was little. Feng Wu had been so busy cultivating her techniques that she had neglected her physical training. What Little Phoenix didn't say was that not only wasn't she adequate in her Fallen Star Sword, but she wasn't as fit as she should be either. Feng Wu cleared her head and focused on refining her body. About 2 hours later, the body forge ointment covering Feng Wu began to fall off. Feng Wu's muscles, on the other hand, were firm and full. She did it. Chapter 3542. Chapter 3542. The Genius Girl. Chapter 3542. The Genius Girl. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. During her cultivation, just then, she had finished the process of refining her body. But it wasn't over yet. This was only the beginning. Feng Wu then entered the second stage of her body forging, which was tendon training. The body forge ointment had fallen off, and Feng Wu put another layer on herself. By then, more than half of the big jar of body forge ointment was gone. When Feng Wu opened her eyes 2 hours later, she realized that she had succeeded. Then, it was time to refine the membrane. Feng Wu opened her eyes again when the sky began to light up. Her eyes lit up. The third stage of the body forging process was completed. Feng Wu finally let out a breath of relief. Rising to her feet, she carefully washed off the residue of the body forge ointment with the hot spring water and changed into clean clothes. You did it. Little Phoenix stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. You really did it. Feng Wu asked. What? Little Phoenix said, it's only been a night, and you've risen from level 1 to level 3 and have completed all 3 stages. Feng Wu asked, am I doing all right? Little Phoenix stared at Feng Wu in resignation. What do you mean by all right? That's more than just all right. Do you know how many stages there are in total? Do you know how long it took other people to complete all 3 of them? Do you know how fast you're making progress now? Feng Wu shook her head in bewilderment. Little Phoenix waved at her in resignation. Normal people would take at least 3 to 5 years to make a breakthrough from level 1 to level 3. The less talented ones may not make a breakthrough even after 10 years, but you? One night? Are you kidding me? Feng Wu said, isn't it because of the body forge ointment? Little Phoenix said, the body forge ointment has indeed helped you greatly, but you don't depend on external forces to make a breakthrough. You have to depend on yourself. You've made 3 breakthroughs in a row in less than a night. If I had known, I would have let you train your body earlier. Feng Wu said, you've only reminded me until now. Little Phoenix smiled bitterly. You've been suppressed by Zhuo Qingluan the whole time and are trying to make a breakthrough in your cultivation as soon as possible. If you have to spend half of your time on body forging, who knows when you'll catch up with Zhuo Qingluan? But how was I supposed to know that you're more talented in body forging than cultivating? You're such a strange girl. Feng Wu said confidently, I think I can do it again. Please don't. Little Phoenix stopped Feng Wu. Finishing 3 stages of the body forging process in one go is already unheard of. The entire body forging stage only has 10 levels. Beyond that, one will become immortal. Feng Wu checked the time. Today was Mrs. Hua's birthday, and many things are going to happen. Feng Wu's plan would be carried out today as well. Feng Wu knew that her plan couldn't fail. If it failed, not only would she be caught and killed, but the entire Feng clan would be destroyed as well. Since I still have time, I'll go forge the Fallen Star Sword, said Feng Wu earnestly. Little Phoenix frowned. Are you in such a hurry? Feng Wu said, only when the mica energy is refined into the Fallen Star Sword will it be mine. Otherwise, it'll be taken back sooner or later. You can sense it, so of course someone like Mrs. Hua can sense it as well. Little Phoenix agreed, so it nodded at Feng Wu. You have a point. Do it. Now you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.